Hello and welcome to the TheDimStream. Today is Thursday, January 26, 2023. I got scared. It's because occasional levity moved and now it's like throwing me off. I'm
I bet.
Beverly. This is Alex. He's always judging me.
Yeah, I'm always so angry at you.
um, and then I was waiting too. I was like, is Rumble? I think Rumble's working. Rumble has the
It looks
check
like it's
mark.
on. I'm
So,
seeing it, so
okay. Look at us go. I didn't screw it up this time.
yep.
Well, how's it going?
It's going okay. Just I don't know. I had like a weird like every once in a while there's like crazy things that happen on the internet. I kind of ran into a psycho today.
Crazy things happen on the internet?
Yeah. And I'm typically like stupid people, sadists, I mean, don't have a problem with them. They don't scare me. But actual
Oh.
like cluster B types, I'm like, oh no, find a way to isolate myself from them now.
And this
Like
is the
when it,
girl I saw, like, the one tweet
yeah.
you had, okay, that you're saying that you're blocking to not
I
deal with
don't
it.
like I really only block people who already blocked me and people I'm actually
Mhm.
like, this is a psycho. I need to like
Yeah.
be careful with this person. And that's
Yeah.
how I felt about that one. I literally did feel like she was a psycho, and I was like, I'm not gonna be around this.
What's your fear? Do you think that, like, in because they might become even at least, like, in a cyber form, like cyber stalking and in that kind of creepy way where it just would
Yeah,
become.
like cyber stalking, sicking mobs on you, trying to find
Yeah.
out who you are in real life so that they can get you, like they can make you lose your job or clients or something like that. Like I don't like those kind of people. Those people who are starting to who seem paranoid and at the same time hostile. Those are the people that I want to avoid. So when I start noticing that they're acting that way, and especially with very little interaction, I block those people. Those are the
Mm.
ones that I feel like, based on a quick reaction to any kind, like you know me, I'm kind of an asshole. I respond to a lot of people, and sometimes bring up points of an issue that they don't like, and I'm snarky.
Mhm.
But so I've interacted with a lot of people not necessarily like a super sweet way, I will say that. But like very few of them react crazily. Like very few people. Like
Mhm.
just trading snark back and forth, that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like you call me you insult me or whatever, you call me a racist, I don't care. Those things don't worry me. It's
Especially things
when
that aren't true, then it's just like, I don't know, right, like,
yeah.
your insults are lame, like, when we talked about that
Yeah.
before, where it was just like, if you're gonna insult to, like, hurt me, you have to say something true that, like, I care about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, there's a difference, and like I don't know, like if you start noticing paranoia and hostility with very little interaction, like most people are like, "You're an asshole." Well, you're an asshole too, and that's
Mhm.
pretty much the end of it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's like that's a reasonable amount of adversarial attitude to me.
Can you give
Um,
any examples of what happened today that led you to, like, "Oh, this person is legitimately
the fact that
crazy?"
they kept saying I was saying different things. And it's like it's in
Oh.
writing. It's not like it's a verbal
So
conversation.
either,
It's
like,
like
gaslighting or they're, like, just not understanding how to read and
yeah.
interpret
And then
direct
some of it
text.
was like she used the term Darvo, which to me is on the internet is kind of a sign of someone who is a cry bully often. So
Really? Okay, I
yes,
haven't heard it much. I just recall one person using it on streams a
cry
few times,
bullies tend to use it. They tend to use it a lot.
which I don't
So
think I'd even heard the term beforehand.
it's almost like it, and it's funny too because I believe Darvo is a real thing. I
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
but people who commit Darvo use the term Darvo. It's so ironic because basically these people that I'm worried about are cluster B types essentially, and cluster B types, like if you give them any kind of psychological tool, like if they learn anything, they'll use all of that. Um,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
and
no, it's so true.
so when someone starts bringing up a lot of those things, like I don't tend to like throw those accusations around because I
Mhm.
think it's silly to do so. But then like I'm just noticing a pattern of the fact that most of the ones that I consider like from a long term of pattern of behavior from them use the word Darvo as an attacking method. Makes
Yeah.
me like, maybe people are not using that like in good faith, essentially. So that's one. Like I said, a lot of this is about a pattern of behavior. So yeah, I was just not comfortable, and I
Yeah.
blocked her. Like I very rarely block anyone first. Like that is
Right,
not
yeah.
my go-to. I mute people, or I just plain out ignore them through my
Mhm.
own
But
will.
when it seems like, I guess if you're gauging like, oh, this person can like do harm in a literal sense, in that like that they might affect your life, like, you know, search you out and like try to do your job and stuff. Like even if they haven't yet, but like if you're kind of like, all right, this is a risk I'm not willing to take, that like this
Exactly.
seems and so I don't mean like harmful in that like, oh, they just said mean words, but like, hey,
No.
they're going to they would be obsessive enough to take it a step further and that like, yeah. So I think that's reasonable. I had to look up Darvo again too because I never remember what it even stands for. So and what it means. So deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. I don't even really like what the words are for this.
I
Deny,
know,
attack,
it's really weird.
and reverse victim and offender. So it's
Yeah,
deny
this
you attack.
the Coley agrees. Sadly, I have encountered it too much. Darvo, almost always hear it from the exact person doing it.
Yeah, yeah. I love,
See?
isn't that what they always do? Like they always, I mean, yeah, it's the projection of other things too. Like, oh, you're doing this, it's crazy. I'm like, no, like you, and this is in writing. Like I see you doing it above, and you're saying that I am. Like, what are you talking about?
Mhm.
All the cray crays.
Exactly. That
Wait,
it's disturbing, but it's like you have to actually be worried about people using the correct terms, and it's like because
mhm.
they're probably using it as to hurt you. Like it's terrible. And like that to me is in itself not necessarily like scary, but to me it's like a warning sign, like a red flag of someone who's willing to do a lot of horrible things maybe, and maybe limit your contact with that human being.
Yeah, so like I don't really interact with people on social media much though. So then when I'm not saying, but I don't think I've like start like directly uh, to like say something, even if I might be thinking it or whatever. Like I don't say like, oh, this like you look seem like you're cluster B, or you seem blah blah blah. Like I don't, because one, just when you have the audience of the world around it, that like then you look like the what was it, dop, the fop doodle. You look like the
Yes, I
fop
actually
doodle.
did use that word today.
Really?
Because I was like, didn't want to hurt. I didn't want to say something that was possibly going to get me reported, because that's the kind of thing that
That's
they would do.
another thing. Yeah, you could just use all the old timey words
So
and
then I used to call people an unbuttered piece of toast, which was my way of saying, like milk toast kind of person, a sheep essentially. And now I'm, after last night, I'm like, I want to use some of these other terms. And I
yeah.
like try to look up some medieval swear words, and one of the first ones it showed was cunt. And I was like, I didn't want that one.
That's awesome. But yeah, so when they're being like fop doodles about oh, I lost my train of thought. Oh
Sorry.
yeah, like I don't really like say their like call them that though. But I will. I'm okay with like analyzing people's
Sorry.
behavior from the third. No, you're fine. I keep hitting everything. So then saying like, oh, what we're seeing on here with so and so, that behavior seems to be like this though. So like I'm okay with that. I don't but then the I don't like directly telling those people while in the conversation, because that just seems like, well, that's terrible in any sort of argument and stuff too. They just, like when you learn how to have discussions to without being like attacky though, you have to try and like, hey, I need to try and be level-headed here. You don't like say that, like you
Yeah.
are blah blah blah. You use like I statements and all that. So it's just kind of
So this was like mild, by the way, for
mhm.
me. For me, very, very mild. She said she was upset by DeSantis banning some CRT lessons in education in Florida. And I asked her and she called it whitewashing history. And I asked her, I was like, is there a difference between teaching history and teaching history through a critical lens, critical with a capital C? And I was like, can you say specifically, I mean, that's not removing slavery and Jim Crow from, the textbooks or anything. And I was like, can you say specifically what was banned? That was essentially what I asked.
Yeah.
Okay. And she replied with like 5 tweets, basically questioning my sincerity and all this other stuff. And like, to me, I'm like, I did not think this person was a progressive when I asked this question, by the way. So this was not me being like in your face, I just asked because I was like, well, I mean, if you're against it, why? What's being banned? Like,
Well, you should just already know what it is. You should already feel like that. Like it's banned. Like it's not. You don't even need to explain why it's banned. Like it's just bad. So you should be.
Yeah, no, it was that was essentially all the tweets, and I was
always is. That is how
and
they all argue.
I pretty much called her as sanctimonious as any Christian fundamentalist bore, and I was at that point because I was like, that was when I was being less nice. And that was still me not trying to say what I really thought, which was cunt goblin. And
I love that.
Yeah. And then she got worse. And I was
okay,
like,
wait. Sorry, can we pause for a moment on cunt goblin? Because in D&D or in RPG stuff, there's the term known as dice goblin, and that means that you hoard all the dice. And everyone calls me a dice goblin. I have like 100 sets of dice, which times 7 for each set, like 700. And I prefer dice dragon though because they also hoard like treasure and stuff, and it sounds cooler. So, but dice goblin is known for hoarding the dice. So cunt goblin, does that mean you hoard cunts? Just
that is a funny image, by the way.
I have all these cunts around, they're all mine.
But yeah, like I think the most dark term I called her publicly was psycho in all the exchange, because I was like, God, you are crazy. And at one point I literally said, you need therapy. Like I was like, oh my God. And like so many times she twisted things that I said, like to be not at all what I said. And I realized it didn't matter what I said. Everything I said, no matter how nice or how mean, was going to be seen as mean. And that was when I was like, oh my God, I have to go. I have to like separate myself from this person. This person's crazy. And I did block her. And then she screenshotted the fact that I blocked her and kept talking about me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll say that I have been bothered by like someone who, hi Corey, has like where they blocked me after like trying to start like a war with me though, and then did the whole like, let me quote tweet you, let me do all this, and then got blocked by it. And I was just like, I wanted to still like say like, hey, so I did do like I don't remember what, like however it was a screenshot or something, to just like, hey, like here's my, like, I still want to end with my perspective on something though, and then like just let it be. But I just wanted to say like, this is what I was trying to give out there. And then it never ended though, because then I would just get like unblocked, screenshot, and then retweeted, and then blocked.
I don't ever want to interact with this woman again. Like honestly, never again. If I never hear
that's
her
when
name
I blocked them.
ever again, I am golden. And that's the thing, is that like I get into like exchanges with people on Twitter every once in a while, but I can't sustain my energy for it because I'm like, I have shit to do. And so I don't block them, even if we are doing a quote tweet flame thing. I just stop. And they think they won or something, and I don't care. I'm like, I just, whatever. You're like, you're still going. You have fun. And
I'm really bad at like not. I don't think it's instead of having like the last word, but I like to give my points, though. I don't like to cut. And if I've said everything, then like, okay, they can keep going. I can ignore it. But if I feel like I haven't finished my whatever it is that I'm trying to say, then it will bother me if it's cut short. But otherwise, I'm like, okay, like no, we've already gone through this, and beat that horse to death. And I would never.
When you're having two different conversations.
Yeah. There's a point too where it's like, even if I didn't get it all, it's like, well, you're not grasping this at all. Like it's just going over your head. Like we're talking past each other. So like there isn't a good way to do this. So have a nice day. Like so sometimes I will get to that point too. But
yeah. And like I have been blocked on that too, when someone's quote tweeting me and then they block me, and then I block them back because I'm like, well,
that's why I stopped. I don't want you to be able to do that.
Exactly. I don't want you to keep going. You don't get to farm me for content. And like I said, I'm not going to go back to her like board to her feed to go find out what else she's been up to do more shit. I don't want to poke that bear.
Right.
I don't want that.
But and then like the cluster B types, they do that, and I think it's just so like I never understood seeing that with people I've known and just online with others though too. I'm like, why do you care? Like when I see it happen, like I just like I haven't checked on them, and so like I haven't even thought about them or at least like actively sought them out. Because it's just like, why? Like I don't care about their opinions. So the only thing would be like maybe just to kind of for like personal Schadenfreude or anything or something though, like, oh, did something go wrong? Like, all right, like, well, I'll make myself feel better from that. But then I don't really like make it public either though. It's not something like, here, let me go see it. It's just kind of like for my own.
No, I get that. You're just like, what's going on over there? And I understand the curiosity and everything.
Occasionally, and it's not even like that. Like, it might just be like something coming like, oh, okay, let me.
Like like some time passes and you're like, I wonder what's going on over there. Like I get that. That's totally normal.
But not like I mean, people who like check it so frequently. It's in I've seen it like in their the new tab thing. Like your frequently checked pages. Like wow, you're just like stalking them.
Yeah, I know. I don't get that at all. I honestly don't. Like I was like, that's an obsession. I don't want I don't want to deal with a person like that. So if she like keeps going, which I will keep an eye on it, like maybe there's something I should further do to, isolate myself. I don't know. But I like that to me, I feel like there is a line between I'm being an asshole and poking at people and then we go our separate ways. Like they poke back at me. Like right. and so to me, I'm like, well, that's turnabout. That's fine. I don't fucking care. But it's like if we like go in our separate corners and someone else just keeps coming back, like that's just when you've lost it. Like that's the person. Like, and I don't want to be a part of that. I really don't.
Yeah. Especially because like there's no point in continuing it though. You're not going to make it anywhere. What is happening here?
No, it's and by the way, that kind of cluster B behavior is it's addictive and it's infectious.
Yeah, because then you might get obsessive over the back and it's just like you're feeding into it back and forth forever. And like someone needs to gray rock and stop this cycle. Yeah, I definitely have seen that. And just to address some people in chat, we've got isn't that is that going to be pronounced Goebbels technically? Because in Chicago there was a street called Goethe, and I thought, well, maybe like Goethe or something. And then whenever we rode the bus and the stop, it would always be Goethe. Like, how's the way getting it?
I know, like I don't know if you've seen Faust, but Faust is written by Goethe, and it's spelled that same way.
Oh yeah.
But so it's Goethe.
Goethe, and I like Goethe. But so then we just always like to pronounce all the different names of streets and stuff too, like the most inaccurate way. They'll like throw in these random sounds and stuff, even though they're in there. So I don't know if this must be like Goebbels. I like Gerb or Gerbil.
Gerbils.
So, and that's the big lie. Is that right? Med. I just looked when I looked up Goebbels technique. It came out with big lies, a gross distortion or misrepresentation of the truth used especially as a propaganda technique. The German expression was coined by Adolf Hitler when he dictated his book Mein Kampf to describe the use of a lie so colossal that no one would believe that someone could have the impudence to distort the truth so infamously. Hitler claimed that the technique had been used by the Jews to blame Germany's loss in World War I on German General Erich Ludendorff, who was a prominent nationalist political leader in the Weimar Republic. The Jews get blamed for so much.
Well, that's the thing. They had a like a pamphlet or something that they spread around in Germany right before, World War II, saying that the socialist agenda in the Soviet Union was spread by Jews. Like, and that one that was just made up bullshit. So the idea that they like, it's like, well, it's fucking propaganda is propaganda. Okay, like it's all a lie.
And then Joseph Goebbels, the head of Nazi Germany's Ministry of Propaganda. So that's right. Yeah, so it came from all that. So it seems like the projection thing, though, that we're just was saying that, like, so this is what you're doing, but that's the thing that I'm doing, even though I'm saying it. Sounds like a productive afternoon. I would argue on Twitter, but they keep banning my accounts.
Well, it's funny saying sounds like a productive afternoon. I have 2 videos coming out. I had one come out today, and I have one coming out tomorrow.
You have some inspiration for it. Yeah.
No, they have nothing to do with this.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, then you could use it, because then that's nice too, to just have, like, well, like I said, bad things that happen. And hey, this is a story later that I can hopefully talk about, though.
But no, I had a Warframe highlights video come out today at 3, and I have a BioShock members only video coming out tomorrow. I finished that video today. So, like, it's not as if I didn't get shit done.
Wow, yeah. Is that when you were saying that, like, sometimes you get ahead of schedule on things?
I'm still technically, like, behind schedule, but I did do a little bit of editing that I'm scheduled to do tomorrow. So I am, I guess, now on the new schedule, I'm ahead of schedule.
I have too many. I think it's like too many schedules, and then I'm like, well, I just dropped that one, and here's this other one. Like I was telling you, I was like, oh, I was productive today because I was already out. So then, like, let me get these things done, so I'm not like it's easier once I'm already moving around to continue. But then I'm like, man, I haven't had time to clean the house and everything. It's just so disheveled everywhere. When I took out all of the stuff in the penguins room and put it in the living room to, like, go through and declutter Marie Kondo-ish style. But and I'm like, well, I've, like, partly done that, where it's just like some stuff are in boxes to be like, are you deciding whether to keep these or donate them or throw them away? And then the rest is just, like, sprawled out across the floor. Like, and then we had, like, internet problems and stuff too. So it's like, I don't know when I have the time to do anything ever. And the internet.
I did get the dishes done today too, but I don't cook a lot, so I don't have a lot of dirty dishes.
Yeah. Oh, we constantly have too much of everything ever. Like, how do we have so much laundry or dishes or whatever? But and then with Starlink, I have no idea. It went kaput. Elon, I think, hates me, and maybe it's all my sass on Twitter because I'm on there so frequently. But then I did get
like me. I'm never on there.
I know you're so quiet and, like, reserved too. But AT&T. So we have the giant. Campaign everything. The giant antennas to, like, point toward the tower, and I disconnected those today to see, because I was about to switch out my AT&T SIM card with my own phone, which is Verizon but uses Visible, just to see, like, does it work.
You have such a complicated, like, Rube Goldberg system of internet access.
It's a whole thing. And then, like, our phone service is bad, so we have antennas, like, shooting toward the Verizon tower, so, like, they get better signal. But anyway, those 2 giant antennas that are, like, 20-foot poles or whatever sticking up, they were the problem, and they were making it not work at all. So when I disconnected them, it was like, hey, I'm working again. I'm AT&T. So I just started using that. Starlink is still gone. I have no idea. We had to, like, put in, send a message to them saying, because there's no phone, like, contact is not the easiest thing. You just have to submit a request thing saying, like, hey, this isn't working. We tried all the troubleshooting that they suggest in it, and it just isn't. Like, it won't connect to the internet. So they'll say it's connected without internet. I'm like, well, what's the point? I don't need to connect to you if you don't have internet.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate having to troubleshoot with my internet company because this is the thing they do. They're like plug in, and I'm like every device in my house runs on Wi-Fi. Everything that matters to me is on the Wi-Fi. If the Wi-Fi is not working, it doesn't matter if everything else about this works. And because I'm like, I'm in a 2-story condo. My like there's in my guest room has the hookup. So my room does, which is the master, has 3 computers connected to the internet. My phone, the phone connected to the internet, smart TV downstairs connected to the internet, all through Wi-Fi. If you are not connecting on, also my iPad, if you're not connected on Wi-Fi, I don't give a shit.
And Starlink is only Wi-Fi too. Like it can't like compared to other routers, like it doesn't even have any Ethernet thing. So like this is it. Oh, so that's been fun. Internet problems. Let me see what's going on in Rumble. I see Coley likes to temporarily block. You could have called her bushel cunted, an insulting term to mean a capacious vagina. Did I pronounce that right? Capacious?
I think so.
I need to look up what capacious is. Capable of containing a large quantity, spacious, or roomy. Synonym spacious. Well, wait. Oh, because is that loose vagina though? Because I'm like, is that a good thing when like it can hold a large amount of, which like all vaginas I think can, because they they like expand. And but does it mean like when it's spacious that it's too loose so you can't, so it's less?
Like
I'm just curious.
Like the opening is like a cave,
Yeah. So like the thing being inserted is it's not gonna hit any of the walls and it's less enjoyable.
Wow, we're getting real.
Anyway, people tell me I'm too tolerant, but I actually just don't like the sensation of being deaf, even if that's selectively. Wow, antennas. Guy in room 83, hello, first of all, welcome. I don't know if we've had you here before. I don't remember your name. But I'm not sure what you mean by wow, antennas. Is that like saying plural of it, or just having any at all? Or have you never seen an antenna
Maybe
before?
both.
I'm not sure what but yeah, they're just giant poles, and then like
Oh
and
God,
they
right.
stick out, and we have to point them, and the wind blows them all around too, though. So it's just a fun time out in the middle of nowhere. Of or pertaining to the captious of or pertaining to the Capet dynasty. Capet dynasty?
Spelled differently. Capacious, spelled by staying salty, is Capacious.
Yeah, so they're two different ones. Yeah. So, but I am enjoying all these words. We had all the fun words yesterday that we've lost out on. Like
I know
Fopdoodle's the only one I can
Fopdoodle.
remember. Yeah. I have to, our farfinarf. I still can't do it without laughing. I'm trying to say it with a straight face. Our farfinarf.
Like, how do you call someone that, like, with anger? Our farfanarf! Like,
that's the drunkard, right? Though, so maybe you're like
yes,
laughing, like you're such an farfanarf.
Yeah.
That way, I could do it that way. Hi, Stevie J. I don't remember if I said hello to you yet, but I saw you say hi. What creature are you talking about? The Arfarfanarf. It's like a giant, like a real extra, like cousin it meets a dog.
Yeah.
Or do you have like all of the hair? Oh, what was the kind? Someone was it staying salty? We just learned about that one type of dog that is just like or did you tell me about it? The poodle, about not a mop. Yeah, poolie.
The mop dog.
Mop
the
dog.
poolie.
Yeah, that is what like a giant poolie is in our farfanarf to me.
Well, because it's like a Afghan that has not been cleaned ever. Afghan hounds are like really, they have that beautiful silky hair that looks like it belongs in a women's hair commercial. Like, oh, look at our wonderful herbal essence hair. Only it's a dog. That was something. I think some dog like product brand used Afghans like that. They were like not showing that it was a dog, but they were showing the silky hair and talking about it like they were going to be talking about women's hair, and then they were like, look, it's an Afghan.
I like it with like horses and stuff too, though. I mean, I've even used mane and tail conditioner before that's for horses, because I've heard people have used, I think it was actually Carter, he said that his family members have used it for their own shampoo and stuff before, so I was like, all right, I'll try it. I probably got it from chewy.com too.
I like that from Wallace Williams. 3 Chicago streets that rhyme with vagina.
Paulina. Yeah, that's Paulina. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Malvina and Lunt.
I don't even know Malvina. I don't know that street. I know Paulina and I know Lunt.
Lunt. That's, yeah.
I do like how you spelled that R-I-M-E for some reason. You corrected it, but I just like, I don't think I've seen that before. Stanford says we should stop saying grandfather, instead use legacy. So hi grandma, hi legacy. All right.
Yeah. Like that is not. Oh, they mean like grandfathered in. Yeah. Yeah. I was literally thinking of the
person. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what?
My father's father, my legacy.
Yeah.
It doesn't even work that way, because when you say legacy, it works for your progeny. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's true that legacy and grandfather are synonyms when you're talking about like policy ideas. That's true. And yes, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner is spelled that way, isn't it? R-I-M-E?
Rhyme of the Ancient, maybe. I can't remember.
I love
what does it mean? Yes, it is.
It is. Okay.
What does rhyme mean there? Is it like the same thing?
Is it just a different spelling? Because they used to spell words differently.
Frost is what rhyme is, apparently. Or to cover with, or as if with rhyme. It's the verb. Like, okay, well, what does that mean? An accumulation of granular ice tufts on the windward sides of exposed objects that is formed from supercooled fog or cloud and built out directly against the wind. 3, crust, incrustation. Ew. You got a rhymey vagina.
I literally asked the question, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, meaning of rhyme, and it does not give there's nothing that talks about this.
Was there anything frost or crust related?
No, it's all just talking about the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner in general terms. Like, here's the poem. Here's an analysis.
Does it rhyme though? Because like it says originally the rhyme R-I-M-E of the ancient A-N-C-Y-E-N-T mariner M-A-R-I-N-E-R-E. So maybe it was just all spelled differently then, and maybe it's just, if it's a poem, does it rhyme?
If you look at the like a lot of the writing, like I've read the letters of Henry VIII to Anne Boleyn is a good example. The spelling is completely different. Like it's that after Middle English, like and they were turning to Modern English, which Modern English spans back pretty far, by the way. The spelling is completely different and not standardized. So it's kind of hard to tell, like, oh, well, we have this word rhyme that means this, but is it rhyme as in, is it just a different spelling of the word rhyme as in things, words that match and sound? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to look, it does say in one line that bring the fog and mist. So if it's that is formed from super cooled fog or cloud, like I guess it could be either way. It's a poem that has rhyming in it, or it also has stuff to do with like being foggy.
I mean, poets are tricksy bastards. So the idea that that the writer of it would be trying to do multiple things at the same time with a word is totally true. Like that is
French. So rhyme in French is rind, but it's an English poem though. So I don't know. Interesting. Okay, I like all these words. I do like words a lot, but I suppose we can get into
that's a lovely legacy clock. I'm sorry. Johnny Boy Quick Draw is really good with these jokes.
He's got this quick quick drawn jokes there.
Yeah, he is.
What a lovely legacy clock you have there. Oh, another thing too before we get into Rick and Morty, oh, I lost what I was gonna say. Oh, MTM, the duck. We, have
Oh,
confirmed that she is in fact a female. We thought because she quacks, like,
okay.
there's a thing or two, but she laid an egg. She laid a
Oh.
weird looking egg. Let me get a picture out of it. It was kinda like, "Is that an egg?" But, and then I found out that oh, here, let me show it first. Present window. There. So it's this weird, like, white and then, like, black soot on the bottom and then, like, yellow up top, and then so it's just, like, really strange, to look at, but then she's a cayuga duck, and I realized, and when I looked it up, they lay, like, gray to black eggs, so
Oh,
but
weird.
it's not the shell itself, it's, like, the coating, because all eggs have, like, a film over top of
That
it.
does look like a coat on it, like that
Uh-huh.
ends at a certain point.
Yeah, but apparently it's supposed
Oh.
to be, like, the whole thing though too, so but when other people online, when they've said it, like, it can rub off though just because, when you wash it and all that, but and it'll start off really dark and then it gets lighter as they lay more though, it's just kinda so I don't know
Mm.
why that breed happens to do that, and we'll see. So I was like, "Oh, is hers having a completely white one?" Like, it's missing the coating, but it is her first, so we'll see, like, will she lay more? I didn't expect her to either, like, they're not getting much sunlight and stuff right now because they're just staying inside with all the snow and cold and everything, like DVD, he
So they
can't
don't
handle his
necessarily
brothers.
like have their cycle for different temperatures, right?
Um, yeah,
Or
and it varies too, since this
conditions.
is her first egg ever, like, it'll be, like, just generally for her hormones, she's gonna be figuring that out. The time of year affects it, the ti like, and just, like, so there's so many things where it's she hasn't that was a couple of days ago, I have no idea, she may not even lay anymore, like, Hope skipped a few days, we thought she was done, and then she started again, though, so it's just kind of like when they're
Mm.
new at it, their hormones are still figuring it out, and with the weather, I think it kinda, like I just never know, and I don't know, like, with MTM, like, "Yeah, we'll see if we get duck eggs, we'll get" we took them in, not for that, we took them in because she's blind in one eye and DVD can't walk, so we're just like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
How
house
is
you."
he doing?
I mean, he's about the same, he's I have to rebuild his chair, like, cut out the legs and stuff too because it's just it's getting a little worn out and just and like the holes themselves, like with his legs going in, his toes will catch, so it's kind of like pulling
Oh
on the
yeah.
fabric a bit. So I need to rebuild, and I haven't had because like sew it by hand, and it's like a waterproof fabric, so I
Oh
haven't had time
yeah.
to like sit down and work on that because I have to figure out sizing and everything. So he's been propped up on the neck pillow and with other things and stuff too. Because I was just like, this seems duck sized. He can sit on when I just happened to be going through, like, the pillows, like, "Oh, we have 2 neck pillows, we barely fly, I think we can." So, and so, like, some other, like, cushions and stuff too to help the problem up. I haven't had because of the snow and everything, I haven't usually I would sit outside and, like, hold his legs up, so we haven't been able to, like, practice building his muscle up. So but I'm hoping once the weather starts getting better, we'll be able to, like, do more. Because when he gets in the water, I need to get him, like, floaties because the
Oh.
one leg, I think, is weak, and he kinda, like, will like, he can move a bit, but just at some point, he'll, like, flip, and sometimes he, like, he'll flip all the way
Oh.
around, and so I have to keep an eye on there, and MTM keeps hopping out of the bathtub. I'm like, "You were in there 5 minutes. Why are you done already?" Now he's freaking out because you're gone, and you've gotten the whole bathroom wet somehow, and so I have to, like and it's just like every time they go in there and I try to, like I close the curtain to try and keep but she'll just fly into it and then slide down. I'm like, "Get out." And she's just like, "Alright." Shaking
I'll
it off.
figure this out.
She'll stand over top of, like, the heater vent on the floor too and just shake her butt for a while,
Oh,
just, like
she
just,
wants to
like,
get like
dry.
warm.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to get a cookie. You know how I
Oh,
mentioned those fudge
never
stripe?
apologize for oh my gosh, yeah, never apologize for food.
I just disappeared. Like some sort of
I got
ghost.
cookie butter, which I found at like, Walmart. It had like whatever other version, not the speculoos crunchy one that I want, but it had that. And then I got shortbread because I've been wanting to do like a Twix plus cookie butter for years, and I kept forgetting about it. And so I just got the shortbread and then the cookie butter. And I had like some like chocolate with caramel. But what I should do is just buy Twix and then stick it in the cookie butter and see how that is, because I just went off that. But
You have the option to buy sticks Twix if you want to, or whatever.
yeah. Do you not have the option to do that? Just as far as what
No.
you can eat, or that you don't have? Okay, I didn't know if like Phoenix banned Twix or something. I just wanted to like make sure that does it not exist out there?
Twix is Twix. Phoenix is actually a test market for food.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So sometimes we have things that other
No one
places
else
don't,
does.
like Ohio. Ohio is a test market too.
Why?
So
Ohio's not even real.
I don't know. I don't know
They
why Ohio, but I that was one of the things I liked about Phoenix was the fact that like all these random foods would pop up every once in a while,
that's
and it'd be
cool.
interesting to try. I think it's an easy test market to throw things at, because we have Californians and we have people from Illinois.
Yeah.
We have the Hispanic demographic as well, so like it's an interesting blend that you can test on.
And Ohio is the complete opposite, I guess, though, where it's like a lot of rural, but
Yeah.
in British Bake Off, one episode the other day I saw, they're like, oh, you're making a shortbread cookie, because it was caramel week, and like shortbread cookie with the caramel on it, and then it's coated in chocolate, and so they kept saying that, and then Matt, what's his name? He's a comedian. I can't remember his last name. Lucas, I think Matt Lucas. And he was just like, he described it all to, and he's like to the audience, like, yeah, you know what we're talking about. We're not allowed to say what it is though, but you've seen him at the shops with the gold wrappers. And so he finally like addressed the fact, because I was like, aren't they making Twix? It was the technical challenge. I'm like, they're just making Twix. But they couldn't say it. They had
adorable.
to just
like, yeah, you can't, because it's owned. Like the word is owned by them, so you can't fucking say it. That is hilarious. Wallace Williams brought up a good point. Cincinnati is Kroger's corporate headquarters, and maybe that's related to why it's a test market. I think you're probably right about that. That's probably true. Fry's is also, I know Fry's is owned by Kroger, and they're like this is one of the hugest areas, like one of the biggest areas that Fry's has saturated. For like a major city, Fry's is everywhere.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. She's a best.
She got into one of her super lovey moods earlier today. She was like, she does this thing where she like walks all over and speaks quietly, like deep sounds. Like you guys never hear it on stream, and purrs like mad and drools everywhere. And
Elsie loves drooling too.
Like it's one of the reasons why I love her. And you guys never see this because she's never like this while I'm talking to the computer, what she thinks is just a big black screen. But like she's so sweet like that. Lily's never like that, like
ever. Let me look at Rumble. A guy in room. Hi. Yeah, I'm new here. I was just surprised anyone still uses an antenna in general, but I was thinking of antennas on old TV sets. Yeah. No, these are like the giant kinds. We have different ones too. Guy in room 83. Was the year you're born in 83? Because that means your birthday, your 40th is coming up this year. Yes. Coley, is it mane and tail a horse shampoo they also sold for use with people? Yes, it is. So that's what, but like if the mane and tail, like they need nice shampoo to make it look nice. So I tried one bottle of it. I could try it again. Right now I'm using Aussie, so it's I swap them things out sometimes just to switch it up. Banning words only makes people make new ones. They even do on YouTube to get around that. Yeah, we were just talking about that yesterday, and I think the other day too, where we were only saying, like, you're still saying the same meaning. You're just going to have a new word for it, though, because like people are going to still want to make their points, good or bad. You should see the words they say. We should eliminate. Let's see, sun lamp.
Yeah, for your ducks.
Oh, we've got like the regular. They live in the mudroom. So they have like some different lighting in there. We worry about heating and stuff too. That so they have like an electric heater. Our electric bill's been so high. But so then and then when it's nice out, then I do like take them outside if it's like not too if it's not snowy. But yeah, like just because DVD, he's so what's it called? Bless you. So the sparse with like his feathers and his wings are like so he's a weird looking duck. He just it's when you spread his wings out though too, like they're just so sparse. It's sad. Gesundheit.
Sorry.
Cookie time. Cookie starts with me. Okay. Well, now that we got our food out of the way.
Yeah.
Good thing we only have like one show
Topic.
or series topic to talk about today anyway, which I am very, very upset about. So I got Alex to watch season 1 of Rick and Morty because she needed the incentive to. She loves the show, she said, but could never like sit down to like actually watch the whole thing. So we said we're gonna do one season per month, and I've rewatched it.
The funny thing is that when I sat down to do it and I saw all the episodes, I was like, I've seen all of these.
Just not in order.
Just not in order. Like,
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. And I have some favorites of the season. And I would say those include Lawnmower Dog, because that's the one with the Nightmare on Elm Street reference
with Terry,
the guy who keeps Scary Terry.
Yeah,
it's
bitch.
It's not the title part of the plot of the episode that I like. It's the other plot with Rick and Morty and Scary Terry. I love that plot. Me Seats and Destroy. I love that episode. Something Richard This Way Comes. Oh God, I don't care about the Pluto stuff like at all, but the stuff about the Alfred Molina character, who's the devil. That was so funny.
Oh, that was funny. So great.
When I came downstairs and I was talking to my friend and I was like, guess what I just watched? And then I go, it's gonna give it to you. And he just started laughing and he knew exactly what I meant just from that I was talking about the Something Richard This Way Comes episode of Rick and Morty. Because that's that might be one of my favorite things that they did in season 1 was Summer and Rick getting all pumped and then beating the shit out of the devil, who was like a Steve Jobs type by the end. That was so
Zuckerberg too, because he Zuckerberged her when they started.
Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah, they said that. I kind of like the Raising Zorp episode.
Oh yeah,
more than like the other ones that I haven't mentioned, partially because of Claudia Black as the head of the Gazorpian women. Yeah. And I like them making fun of feminists. So.
Right, like I got bothered by the one part of where like oh my gosh, what Summer was like, well, like what, we're not equal, women make 70% of what men make. So then I was just kind of like, oh, I wish they corrected that in there too, though, to say that like
it's not true.
Right. So I wish and Rick being the genius should have just been, he's like, well, now it's really now the time to say that because they're in danger, but like he should have corrected like, hey, this isn't a true statement. So that was one part that I was sad about, but overall I liked the concept of it. I'm trying to remember, there were so many, and I just rewatched I went through and watched all 6 seasons with Motown not too long ago, so then I rewatched season 1 here, and let me see, but in this one, the one episode had the lines that I was just saying yesterday about retarded, which I love too, and I'm like, that's such a great line, and I think I wrote it down here. Where is this that it was the one that you love, it's the devil one, so because that's the one where he has the microscope. He's like, yeah, using that microscope, that would have made me retarded. And then Morty's just like, ooh boy, Rick, I don't think you're allowed to say that word, Morty, I'm not disparaging the differently abled. I'm stating a fact that if I used this microscope, it would have made me mentally retarded. Okay, yeah, but I don't think it's about logic, Rick. I think the word has just become a symbolic issue for powerful groups that think they're doing the right thing. Well, that's retarded.
Yeah,
Just
the part is so good. My favorite part of that whole episode, though, is so silly. It's the part where Rick and the devil meet for the first time. and then like they end the scene with one of them doing an evil laugh and the other one doing an evil laugh, and then they're like trying to be louder in their evil laugh than the other one, so that they're essentially shouting evil laughs at each other. It's so silly and stupid, but it's great. I loved it. And Alfred Molina does a really good job too. And Summer with the stupid 3 wishes that she made.
Oh yeah. What a waste of a monkey spot.
Yeah.
Also I made a note to myself on here too. I twice, and then I ignored both of them. Just for the stream, because someone in Gab, I forget who it was, like had commented, maybe it was Chicago Faucet, was saying, like posting in the comments about like liking the episodes because it helps for not Gab, sorry, Rumble on Rumble. Rumble so please like, share, and subscribe to these because I never ever remember to say this on the stream.
Yeah.
I think especially since we moved to my channel, I don't think I've ever said it once though. So on Rumble,
I just watched. And by the way, this is on topic for that. I just watched a pitch meeting for where he like Ryan George is going. He's replaying an old pitch meeting, and then he responds to it to say like what he thinks about it. And at one point, he talks about the call to action that you do at the end of a video or at the end of an article, whatever, you know, and how he does it at the end. And he's all like, it's so weird. He literally, this came out like 5 hours ago, by the way, and he's like, has anyone actually like remembered after I told them to like a video to do so? Or was that a pointless thing for me to say? Like he's literally asking like, does a call to action mean anything? And he said the words call to action, and he's like, most of you don't know what that phrase means, so like I'm getting into the weeds here. And it's like, I know exactly what that word means. I've worked in marketing for years, so like I know exactly what you're saying. But like, it's true. How many people do like a video when the person in the video asks them to, or subscribes when the person asks them to? I don't know. Like they say to do it. They say do it, you know, like all the marketing advice is to say the words. And the thing is though, is that I have seen it in action working.
Really?
I have.
Okay.
I have seen a person, I've been watching a video sitting next to them, and someone goes, and if you guys could like leave me a like, I would really appreciate it. And then they lift up the remote and they go over there and they like the video.
That's
so
so
like
much
sort
work.
of, it does work.
No, I'm saying it's work on the even if you're on the TV and having to do that, like that's way more effort.
I mean,
than
on
I would
YouTube, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that Rumble even does it have smart TV capability? I don't know.
I forget. I think I looked it up once when someone asked, and I don't remember what the answer was. I want to say yes, but maybe not. Yeah, well, and then if you do it, like if we do it now in between, like before we continue on, like I'm just gonna wait here. The stream is just gonna wait until all of you like this.
Yeah, we can see how many of you are watching, so get over there.
Yeah.
We're gonna shame you if you don't do it.
I love being shamed into doing things though, so that really always gets me.
I think it's funny when someone does it like, you know, like facetiously shames someone when they're being like trying to literally shame someone. No, you're dickbag.
How am I going to do it? Like, man, guys, it would be so helpful if you did it, but no one's gonna do it. So thanks for nothing.
It would be like that e-girl who said, wait, who can't give $5 to a live stream? And it's like, bitch, if you literally want people to pay you $5 to watch you live stream, you can make this like subscribers or members only on whatever platform you're on. So don't fucking pull that shit.
especially if they watch a lot too, though, that like, if you're donating that much every way or something, then or if people might complain like, oh, you only did $1 or $2, like what about $5? Like you couldn't do 5. And I'm always very grateful for any of them too. It's so nice. But like, and I'm like, I can't do $5 though. Like no, I take care of a lot of animals, and that costs money, and then plus just regular living expenses and stuff too, though. And then the animals are trying to treat, they sometimes eat better than we do, kind of thing. So, but yeah, ugh. Anyway, like it, don't like it. What if we do reverse psychology? Don't like this video. Whatever you do, don't.
I will find you and I will slap you if you like this video. I swear to God. I will track you down if you like this video. Do not click that. I swear, don't you click that button.
Yes, George. Hello, George. Alex taught me that you can stream free if you have 100 followers, which I did not know. So once, or if I ever get to that point, then I will.
I said that as you.
I was like, how did I do that? I legitimately paused for a moment because I was just like, what happened here? Like, who is that? It looks like me. I was so confused. All right, so apparently I'm telling everyone to follow Alex on Rumble.
I have less than 100 subscribers on Rumble.
Me too. I guess this is also a good time to just post links to things. So
yeah.
Another thing about it, Discord. That's free. What else do I have here? You got your Rumble. I'm the dim side on everything. Social media wise, Instagram. That's the thing that I use the most and I don't even use that a ton, but that is what I use the most is Instagram to post animal pictures. And then my keyboard's falling down. Let's see, subscribe star. I also have Alex's tiny link for if it still works. I have no idea if it works to your Stripe, but I did save it.
So
we'll see.
Let me find out.
Okay, so season 1. While you look that up, what else do I have here? That devil one was good. I forgot. I was thinking that the one where everyone turns into the praying mantis monsters, and then they have to leave to a different reality, to a different dimension.
Yeah.
I thought that was the end of season 1.
Yeah.
But that was like only episode number 6. 9? Yeah, that was 6 episodes in, and they that was such a huge thing to happen.
And it's because the Rich Steve Minutes episode, they talk about it again because Morty tells Summer about the fact about that happening.
Right.
And the fact that those are these bodies down there.
That's my dead body out buried in the backyard. Yeah. And then I thought the close Rick counters of the Rick kind was going to be the season finale too. I'm like, oh wait, no, there's another one after that. I'm like, man, that one felt like a good season finale. And that one has my favorite music. So at the end, that creepy music, like I adore it. However, I can't even think of how it goes right now, but it's just like the spooky, creepy awing of it, and like everything about like the creepy piano. So like all of it I love, and if I can find it, we can play it because I'm not monetized on YouTube. Rick Morty, what is that? What's he called? He's the evil Morty music or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was that was like, oh, where are they going with that? Like I that always hit hard. Like that's very well written because they introduced the dumb Rick in that same episode.
Doofus
and
Rick.
It seems like this just thing that they're doing with Jerry and everything for laughs or whatever. But it's like, that's actually giving you the seed for the idea of if there's a dumb Rick, then there's a smart
Morty.
Morty.
Yeah, good point. So then we have the music here. I don't know. Like everything I found was just like all extended versions, so I'm not sure. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I know this. Like it reminds me of something, but I don't remember what.
And
Oh,
then
you get copyright claimed on YouTube.
yeah, that's fine. This part.
This is like a montage of Evil Morty stuff.
Yeah, if it's spoilers, then we can do that. You don't have to see. I've only done season 1. Dun, 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 dun.
I wonder what that music is from.
I think it's.
If
I thought it was original. Yeah, I think it is original, but it always sounds like this is from something else.
Yeah.
Evil theme, but let me double check because I'm pretty sure I looked it up, but I think it's only known as that. But man, once they get to the like that, I don't like it gives me chills, and I love it so much. Like I love that music.
It's very creepy. It definitely grabs the tone that they want for it.
Okay, so it's For the Damaged Coda by Blonde Redhead. I don't know if it's just a song that they made or that they used for the show, or if it was made for the show. Damaged. Whoop.
I wonder if it's in anything
showing
else.
Up. Oh, For the Damaged Coda. Their song was used in an episode. The use of the song was again repeated in the 3rd season. Okay, it looks like it was just a regular, like its own song, and then used on there. Man, okay, I need to look up this
I must
band.
have heard of it. I must have heard it some other time because I feel like I do know the song.
It sounded so familiar to me, or it just sounded. It's based on Chopin's Nocturne in F minor. So maybe
it's the voice that is actually like really like feels like I know it, which means I might have just heard it, you know.
The song played. Yeah.
Yeah.
The music video was first uploaded to YouTube on February 5th, 2008 and has over 47 million views as of October 2022. I wonder if that was from Rick and Morty to help. I mean, I don't know if it was already popular or if it like the song was sampled in B.O.B's 2017 song Bobiverse, B.O.B.
Bob verse.
I don't know how he pronounced it because he pronounces the name as B.O.B. with the periods and stuff. And I don't know if it's Bobiverse or B.O.B.verse, but I don't know if I've maybe I have heard it in that song then. All right, well, let's look up this song. We're already probably copyright strikes, whatever. I don't get money.
That's true.
Song.
Although I will say this, it reminds me tremendously of the Dresden Dolls.
The Dresden Dolls.
I don't know if you know that band. It's Amanda Palmer's band before she went solo.
Okay, I don't know Amanda Palmer either.
That's Neil Gaiman's now the ex-wife.
Okay. Dresden Dolls. Is that just them generally, or like other or specific?
Their type of music.
I don't think I've heard his version.
But I have either.
Oh, so that song For the Damaged Coda by, what was it? Blonde Redhead. Oh my gosh. I don't know why. I just, it's so creepy. And because I love creepy music and stuff too. Like anytime that like children singing and stuff too, not that they are, but like any of that like high pitched creepiness. Love it. Dresden Dolls. So I'll look them up later. I can't tell if I've heard of that band.
Oh yeah, Wallace Williams knows who the Dresden Dolls are. He just named their most popular song, Coin Operated Boy. Number one question about that song, is it about a dildo? No, it is not.
Well, that's just disappointing then if people think that it is and it's not.
Someone gave me their album my freshman year of college as a gift, and no. They gave me a mix CD and Coin Operated Boy was on it. and I was like, who is this band? Because this is amazing. And I found that album, and I got all of their albums. They were very good. And then she went solo, and she went a little bonkers, which can be expected from the kind of band they were. And she married Neil Gaiman, which is also like, well, he's a little bonkers too, so I'm kind of not surprised. But I did really like their music. It was very, it had this sort of like childlike darkness to it, which is why I get that vibe from that song. But there are other bands that do that kind of vibe to them. I feel like the White Stripes were kind of like that.
Oh, really?
A little bit, yeah.
Because I didn't pick you up. Like sometimes I don't know. There's certain ones that I really like it, and other ones where it's just kind of like this hat, like or this hat, like it's not fully a major key or something in it that's like off in it. But I don't know. But stuff like that where it's just this creepy children. So you need to send me links to other ones that you think that like, hey, this is similar of that creepy tone. I also really like I think you hate the movie La La Land. And which
yeah, I don't like it.
It's which I was like, yeah, meh, but I really like a couple of the songs in there. I really love Another Day of Sun because what I think it's just it's a fun tune, but also it has this like it's such an optimistic lyrics and stuff, and like generally it kind of has like it's upbeat, but it also has this like a hauntingness to it and like a yearning to where like it just kind of feels like I don't know, like you're kind of like in between something though. So listening to it, it makes me feel uneasy, but also I really like it. So, and it's supposed to be like a cheery song, but it's kind of like, oh, this is a little bit like weird.
What I just sent you was the song that probably sounds the most like what the Rick and Morty song is. It's called "Missed Me," and it's kind of it's sad because it's about it's from the point of view of a girl who was groomed and raped by an older man. So like a lot of their songs are like super dark like that. But it has that same kind of like melody to it and rhythm, so that's why it makes me think of it. But a lot of their songs are like that, so it's like it's creepy and sad, and the only one that I would call frenetic is probably Girl Anachronism, which is also a very good song though. It's just everything they've always done like sped up super fast.
Okay. I'd really like that. COB goes on any respectable Halloween playlist. Oh, okay. Oh, what's the other one too? Creepy Doll, I think. And I don't remember who does it, but I remember that I really like that. And I played it once, which we probably shouldn't have because there's a friend and I were playing at some like festival that was going on. We had like a little stage time and we had like some fun songs. But then he wanted to do Creepy Doll, which I liked, but it was like there are children around, and I don't think because like the lyrics weren't Creepy Doll. Here, let me find it. Jonathan Colton, I think, is the guy, if this is the right one. In a town in the woods at the top of a hill, there's a house where no one lives. So you take a big bag of your big city money there and buy it. But at night, when the house is dark and you're all alone, there's a noise upstairs. At the top of the stairs, there's a door. And you take a deep breath and try it. And the flashlight shows you something moving just inside the door. There's a tattered dress and a feeling you have felt somewhere before. And there's the creepy doll that always follows you. It's got a ruined eye that's always open. And there's a creepy doll that always follows you. It's got a pretty mouth to swallow you whole. And it goes on. But it was just like it's a good song, like it is a creepy song and I love it, but I just think this might be a little scary for kids.
That's funny. There's some bands that are that I kind of off like from Dresden Dolls went to them or soloists sometimes, one of them is Regina Spektor.
I
She
love
made
Regina
some
Spektor.
I love her too. I think she's great. I really like Florence and the Machine. There's these like
Me too. I only know like a few songs of both of them, but the ones I know I really love.
Yeah, like the Dolphin song by Regina Spektor is a lot of fun. There's one I can't remember if who the artist is, but it's Black Horse and Cherry Tree. I'm pretty much trying to like. I have an entire playlist of these like women who do these kind of creepy songs, essentially.
I like Florence
Wait,
and the Machine. She did the one How I Met Your Mother. What, does it Shake It Out?
yeah,
Right,
Shake It
that's the one I
Out.
really love. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Florence and the Machine's uh, music. It's so awesome. Lenka, I think her name is Lenka, the one that did the maybe Black Horse and Cherry Tree, or KT Tunstall. I don't know.
Mm.
There's so many of them, and they're all women, and they're all in the same like vein, and it's these weird coffee house type music that isn't. It's very enjoyable, but um uh it's also like really. It is KT Tunstall doing Black Horse and Cherry Tree. That's a really fun one. But Lenka is also really good. But yeah, there's all these like coffee house women who make these really weird arty songs that are actually really fun. And yeah, like I Johnny Boy Quidross did say KT Tunstall in chat.
Oh, KT kind of stuff. Things to look at later.
Yeah. Like I could send you an entire like list of these
Yeah,
kind of
go for it.
women and the music they
I'm
do.
gonna be
I
looking up
love
or
it.
blonde redhead and see if they have if a lot of their music's creepy, or if it was just that one though, because like I don't know, I love that so much. Guy in room says something tells me Beverly is a music nerd, not sure what it is. Really,
I'm a
really hard to
music
tell.
nerd. I'm an audiophile. I wouldn't say that I am like a music nerd because I don't play anything, but I really, really, really like music a lot.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
like weird shit. I'm a big fan of the weird stuff, and that makes me more on the audiophile side. So Johnny Boy Quidra brought up the fact that Tunstall likes to use one of those foot pedals that loops
I
guitar
love
and
looping pedals. Yeah.
oh my god, I saw an artist in college. It was in the downstairs student union, which was super tiny. Just remember, I went to college in a rural town. It was
Is his
an
name
electric.
Lucas Carpenter? Because he's the one that I knew that did that. He
No,
did a small college
this
place.
was an electric violinist. I can't remember his name. I bought all of his albums that night because he played a version of Kashmir using foot pedals and just his violin. It was so beautiful, and he did so many amazing songs using the looping foot
I
pedals. I
need you to find
loved
out what
him.
his name is
I
then,
know
so
I
I
have
can.
all his albums, so I
Yeah.
will find them and I will tell you his name. I'm sure
Okay.
he's on Apple Music and all,
Yeah.
and Spotify and stuff. So I will,
I love
and
electric
I'll probably
violin.
comment on the video to let everybody know who the fuck I'm talking about.
Yes.
I can't remember his
Okay.
name.
Yeah, where are we at? We're an hour 12 in. So
Yeah, we did talk about Rick and Morty. We have
I
not
did.
talked yet.
Oh yeah, the whole
We
Justin
got
Roiland.
off
I
topic
just mean
because
as
of
far as
music.
when you comment on it, you can put in the
Oh
time
yeah,
like, to link to
yeah,
that part.
yeah.
But the violin, the Lucas Carpenter, I love his, and I've met him a few times, and and I would go to his shows when he'd come back around in Pittsburgh and stuff too, wherever he was. Like, I want to go see you, because he was just a great live performer. Like, he had a fun energy, and he would play different instruments. So he'd like do something on like the acoustic guitar. You do like a couple different things, get out like the flute or penny whistle or whatever instruments he'd have, put them in the looping pedal, and then like sing the song. As he'd go on, he would just build the whole song with different instruments, and it was just so impressive. And yeah, so I think I have all his albums. There was one song that wasn't on any. It was just like an extra song that I came across at one point, and then I lost the digital version and I couldn't find it online, so I like messaged him on Facebook and was like, hey, do you still like, have a copy? Like, I can't find this anywhere. And he like tried to find and then got distracted, and I was like, it's okay, I found it. I finally found it, and I made multiple copies to save around though. And because I think it's called Life Without You. That was the one. Lucas Carpenter, and it's just such like a cute, cheery song, a love song. But yeah.
Oh, I
This
found
is
his
a pop
name.
culture thing. It's
I
fine. We're
know his
talking
name.
music. This is totally relevant to the series too. I mean, like,
it is.
we're
I found his name. Tracy Silverman. That's his name.
How is Tracy spelled?
Tracy.
Why? Okay.
Tracy Silverman. He is so amazing. I definitely suggest him.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously we have to play something of it. We've been talking about him, and this is the first thing I found, and it's Beethoven. All right. Do you like Lindsey Sterling?
I love Lindsey Sterling.
Me too.
I love violinists, and especially the ones that do crazy stuff. I did see Joshua Bell in concert, and I was amazed that I got to see Tracy Silverman do something like in such a small venue. When I looked him up afterwards.
Yeah, I'm trying to find like if there's one of him live doing the looping pedal stuff.
He was doing the looping pedal in that.
I know he was on that one. Yeah. I just wanted to see what else if he had other ones like in a live or like in an audience performance.
Oh. Yeah, he did do All Along the Watchtower too. Actually,
who was the other one? You said Joshua Bell. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know Joshua Bell?
I don't think so.
The way he can make it sound like an electric guitar is so impressive. When he does the 70s rock adaptations, it's amazing. I love that song too. So
I love that. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll have to look up more of him.
He's great.
Joshua Bell and okay. I didn't know
when I saw him in concert, it was so funny because like he was doing all this classical stuff and then he goes, now this is a song that I'm going to do variations on and you are all going to recognize it. And I was like terrified because I don't know classical music that well.
Yeah.
And I like my period that I know a lot of the music is the 70s actually. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I have no idea what he's going to do. I'm terrified. It's going to be something like every classical fan knows or whatever. And then he started playing Yankee Doodle Dandy. And I was like, okay, yeah, I do know that one. And he did play variations on Yankee Doodle Dandy. And it was really good. It was like a lot of fun, which was funny because like earlier in the day, I saw a concert with Hot Club of Cowtown, which is a blend of like blues and bluegrass and classical. It's a band and they're very good. I was not expecting that. Unfortunately, whoever had done the sound had like either they purposely fucked it up like after the Hot Club did their test or something,
Mm.
because it was bad. She had to like the violinist was like, all right, turn up the monitor, turn up, like, because it was like so much feedback, so much like just problems at the beginning, and she had to like redo the sound test during their concert. And I was like, that sucks, because they're really good. Like, I could tell this is not their fault.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
another like really good band that I definitely suggest.
What was the name?
Hot Club of Cowtown.
Club of Cow. Um, oh, it is one word. Okay. Cow. My thing with classical music is that I end up being like such a poser about it though, because like yeah, I do play like I learned classical piano and so, but I don't know a ton. So people like those who are like really more in the know, like it's over my head. And I used to know more musical terms and music theory and stuff, and I've forgotten a lot of it because I just haven't like had to think about it in so long. And then there's so much more too that I'm like, I've never even heard of some of these things. So it's just like if I get the sheet music, I can learn to play whatever, like because I just practice for like hours and hours a day. But then just like names of like I'm not good at like oh yeah, like this is so and so's piece of music or whatever. Like so if you just list an artist, any a composer or whatever, I probably might not think of like oh what I can't think of the music in my head though. Like I probably have heard
Mhm.
it. I don't know names of things. I don't know who's who and.
Yeah.
So it's just like Bach was the first one that I really play. Like I still have like the music book that I learned how to play the different minuets on. So he'll always have like a special place in my heart as my
I have
first.
a I have way too much knowledge than I should of classical guitar for someone who does not play classical guitar. I've been to a lot of classical guitar uh, concerts, like a lot. Some of them were really amazing. I fell asleep during one of them. I felt really bad for that. And like my friend, who's the one who dragged me there, who's like, I was like, I feel terrible. And I was like, but the music was so soothing. And he goes, that's fine. Like he was like, it's
Yeah,
not. It's like that. If the music was soothing and it literally put you to sleep, and he's like,
I've been
I know you've
super
been up
relaxed.
for like 16 hours at this point. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah, especially if you've been up that long. So, n so my favorite, instrumental, my classical piece is still and always will be, Pachelbel's Canon in D. Like, that
Oh
just one
yeah.
always gets me. I love it. That's why my Christmas Pandora stations end up being, like, because every time Pachelbel's Canon comes on, I hit like, and then it just ends up being, like, half of them will be just
That's
Canon.
hilarious. I
And
think I really
then
like Vivaldi's Allegro, and that's as much as I can
oh, yeah.
remember of the name. If there's more to it,
I
I'm
see, I can't
sorry,
even
I
think
don't
of, like, how the I know the piece, but I can't think of how it goes, and I just heard it live when on an or this one organist that I covered for the newspaper, but what else? The Allegro, Pause Candy, what am I oh, I really love, well, ones that I just memorized though too, so, like, kind of by, like, the de facto favorites because they just play them and stuff too is for
know.
Elise, which I've been playing too because 'cause I've been kinda doing a, like, a it's a for Elsie for Elsie piece, so, I'm like, Elise, it's the same letters, so I've been playing that for her. And then, which the Moonlight Sonata, which I haven't played in a while though, but, like, I love the 3rd movement because that is just crazy. And I like for Elise, there's the one part too where I like to play everything faster, but, like, there's certain parts too where it's just, like, it goes da 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 da, and then it walks down, and I play that one, like, really fast. And, and then this isn't it is classical style, but it's newer, is Yuruma's, River Flows in You, and I think that one that's another, like, kinda hauntingly beautiful piece that's just sort of like, I don't know, it gets me, where it's
one
just
of
like, it's
my
beautiful, but, like, sad but, uplifting and
one of my favorite types of music is when these classical musicians play pop and rock songs. They
Mhm.
adapt it. I love
Oh,
that
yeah.
genre of music
Who's the
so
guy
much.
the rock canon, and that was, that was like, 2009, 2010 or whatever. The one guy, he played canon and an electric guitar, and he was like one of the early guys to do it, but he was insanely good at
Oh
different,
yeah, yeah.
I think it was
When
just
I
called like
actually
rock canon.
mean like
They'll play,
yeah,
like pop song, like, and do it in the classical. Yeah, so it's
on
the
classical
yeah,
music instruments. Yes, yes. So like there's
reverse.
the Dallas String Quartet, the piano guys.
I love the piano
Um,
guys, and
I
yeah, there's
know
the
two
is
cellos,
Stella string quartet the other thing? There's another quartet or strings something. There's another.
vitamin square. I think there's one called the Vitamin String Quartet or something like that.
Yeah, there's
The
one I
ones
know in
that do.
Pandora. They Cry Me a River I keep hearing, and that's by, River
I
Classical.
call it orchestral rock myself. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
Vitamin String Quartet. I don't know if that's the technical term for the genre, but I call it that, orchestral rock.
I like it. So that's why I like both, I think where, like, they play pop songs in, like, the classical, like, with string especially, or but then also, like, hearing classical and, like, here's this revamp of rock stuff
I
too,
think
or
that's
pop.
cool too. Like, I don't know if you've seen this movie, but you probably should. It's called Crossroads. Not the one with Britney Spears, but one with Ralph Macchio.
Okay.
So he is a classical guitarist playing at Juilliard. That's the
Mhm.
setup. And but he loves blues. Absolutely loves blues. And he knows there's this blues harp player at this like
Hmm.
retirement home, I think it is. I don't know, it's been a long time. And he's trying to get him to come out and say that he is the harp player. And finally, the guy admits it. And so they go on a trip to go to the crossroads because a lot of this is about, is it Tommy or Johnny? No, I can't remember, but there's two different blues guitarists who are said to have sold their souls at the crossroads to become famous or amazing guitarists. There's actually two. So Robert Johnson, they're talking about Robert Johnson in the movie. There's another one named Tommy Johnson that they bring up in Oh Brother Where Art Thou. That's the other one. So like two different movies talking about essentially what is the same person, but it's not the same person in the real world. So like they go to the crossroads because the harp player had sold his soul and he wants to get his soul back. And it's a really good movie. It's very interesting, and there's a lot of really good playing in it. And Steve Vai is in it, and someone plays a classical song on a rock guitar in that movie, and it's so good. It's definitely worth watching.
Um, I'm looking it up now. I see the written
You
by
need to
John
do a music.
Fusco. Yeah, a whole music episode. He was a
Yeah.
traveling blues musician prior to attending New York University's Tisch School of the Arts. That's where Matthew Gray Gubler went to school too for filmmaking. Uh, all of
Yes,
him.
Ry Cooter, you're right. I feel like
Um,
Wallace Williams knows all the references I make.
you guys are twins. He gets you. Is that just you under a different account, Alex? Is that
Well, I
pretending
mean,
to be
Johnny Boy Quitro knew I meant KT Tunstall
Tunstall?
before.
Yeah. All all y'all are the same, are one person. Kyan Ream says, I actually did get into some classical music in college because as a music major, a lot of Beethoven stuff is good. A lot of it is good for studying and getting stuff done. 2G Quick Draw also said, there's a comedian who does a bit about how all modern music is really just a pocket about the canon in D. Yeah, I think I've seen that clip before too, because then I think he went through because it's yeah, and I'll hear that similar pattern and stuff a lot too. They might like kind of leave out something like when they condense it, but and then most pop and rock songs and stuff, it's all just like four chords too, so you can swap out, you can
Oh
do
yeah, there's a
a
song
bunch.
called Four Chords where
Mhm.
like I think it's a duo. They go through like
A
all these
bunch.
different songs. It's
Yeah.
very like it's interesting because it's like, yeah, that's kind of a problem. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh. And then and so it's I think similarly where it's just like a lot of people, they kinda intentional or not though, it's like, yeah, this sounds a lot like Pachelbel's canon with their music. Pachelbel comedian. Who did that? Pachelbel rant.
There's another comedian who did Bohemian Rhapsody as other artists.
Oh,
It's really
yeah.
funny.
Hang on. Yeah, I found it. Okay. He kind of talks for a long time, but I'll just post it in here. Maybe we'll watch it later. of the what Johnny Boy had said. Not a lot of musical stand-ups. Feel like it's a lane waiting for some drivers. Bo Burnham, I love him. So he he
Oh
does a lot
yeah,
of it's musical
he's
stand-up stuff. Like
what was amazing.
I still haven't seen what I need to listen to
God,
watch
like
it.
it ends
I-
so
Does
beautifully.
it?
You
Okay. All
really
right.
need to
Remind
watch
me.
it.
Or we do a whole Bo
We
Burnham
have to do an
episode too.
episode
Okay.
on Bo Burnham because what is just it's
Okay.
like you end on such a high watching that movie, that stand-up special. It's just so intense. It's really good.
Okay. I like using this series, these shows to force us to watch things where like, oh, either like I just won't do it like Rick and Morty on your own, or like I keep forgetting to do it. Like I just
Yeah.
need to like, hey, like this is your homework assignment, so you need to do this. So for next month, we'll have to insert Bo Burnham specials,
Yeah.
and I can like I know the music from his first two though. Like I've got like, and he's so witty though with like just the words is is so great. And but okay, so one of the things next month we'll see if we can squeeze in because we're already busy. We have to do the what is it the Lost City for like the Valentine's Day thing with the other one that I keep forgetting the name of, Romancing the
Romancing
Stars.
the Stone.
Stone. Stars. So that one for like a Valentine's Day thing. We have Rick and Morty one. I don't know if we fill in the other 2 weeks, but so if
You
not,
did
then Bo Burnham.
mention season 1 of Demon Slayer.
Oh, right. Okay. So we'll try. I've
That's
got a lot of work to do.
3 episodes right there. And there are 4 Thursdays in February.
Okay. So if it's going to be a lot to try and do, we might have to just do like a movie, like maybe I still haven't seen like the Wakanda movie or something. So like or Megan. I did want to see Megan, that horror movie.
Oh, the horror movie.
So I am interested in that.
You're such a fan of horror films.
Yes.
I am too, but they're always such a disappointment to me.
That's why my bar is so low. So it's fine. But okay, so we'll figure out planning for that. So to get back onto Rick and Morty, one, I just love the show generally, and then we can talk about Justin Roiland, unless there's other specific things from season one. Like overall, I thought it was a solid season. I do know that people apparently tell them because they even insert it, they reference it. Like Rick will say, like everyone wants us to do like season one again. Like what does that even mean? Like you're like, oh, you should go back how you like, did season one, and it's hard for you, like, since maybe you haven't seen the later ones yet either, but just keep that in mind because I don't super understand. Like, I think I agree with him. I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, if that is a common thing that they hear, I don't understand why other people say that too. And I think that just generally people will end up doing like, oh, I didn't like it went on. I think for some people, they want to keep it the same forever. And I'm like, even I'll use The Office as the example that I think of first with Pam and Jim. And I knew like friends who like they didn't want them to get together. And I was thinking early on though, like that, like I didn't even know how long the seasons would go. But for let's say 9 seasons of a show and they never got together, you're gonna run out. Like you have to change things.
Stephen King said that about years ago about X-Files, that it's like a 9-year cock tease. And I agree. The idea, like, I will admit that most shows that have a man and a woman as like this sort of passing ships
The will
thing,
they, won't they?
The will they, won't they, like Friends and, The Big Bang Theory and How I Met Your Mother, they end when they get together.
Yeah.
I get it. But
that's where you can't
drag it out too long though.
And it doesn't have to, I keep hitting it. It doesn't have to end either, because then you just develop like the dynamic changes. But like The Office, I think still worked. Like, hey, now they're a couple. Like you lost that will they won't they, like, yeah, like that is dead. But now they can move on. Like as a couple, here are the things that we're going through, and here are like the funny parts. And then even later on, I was upset by it, but like looking back at it now, I think it was like, oh, it's kind of, it's realistic, where they had marital troubles toward the end of
Well,
the series. So it was just kind of like, oh, you get to see some drama and comedy throughout, like the changes in their relationship as the years go on, because it's not solely episodic. Like I also love like Corner Gas is one of my favorite shows, and that is like very, very episodic. And that went on for 6 seasons and came back as an animation. Totally fine with that. But if you have something that like does keep like it has
it's an
some sort of
ongoing
overarching
story.
plot,
Yeah.
even if like kind of smaller, like you can't keep it the same forever. It's gonna get stale.
Well, and the thing is too about the couples getting together is that almost every single one of those shows that I've mentioned, the couple, the it couple that you want to get together, which by the way, I don't actually agree with Ross and Rachel as a couple by the end of the show, but
Mm.
that's beside the point. They get together. They might even get together multiple times on the
Mhm.
show before the show ends. So it's like clearly
They had
it's
to, yeah.
yeah, because it's like those first get-togethers didn't work out.
Mhm.
Why didn't they? They had problems that as people that they didn't work through yet. Like a good example is actually the Big Bang Theory. Like what happens is that the first the first time they're together and everything, he says I love you and she doesn't, and then well,
I haven't really
Will
watched that
Wheaton
show.
yeah, Will Wheaton kind of comes between them, makes
Oh, okay.
Penny feel insecure, which is not that hard because Penny is a very insecure person, and so she breaks up with Leonard. Yeah, so like, but that makes sense because she's not there yet. She's not ready to be secure in their relationship yet, and because she's not very emotionally available as a person. So it's like, yeah, this works. They broke up and that made sense. She needs to grow more before they actually end up together. And then there are a lot of seasons actually where they are just together. And it works. It's fine. It's not a problem. That show lasted like 10 seasons, I think. It
Did
was
it?
very
Oh, okay.
successful. Yeah.
I know it was
It
very
was
successful, and maybe that was why I didn't really want like, one, I don't know, I guess it didn't really drag me into it enough. It didn't pull me in though, but like maybe it was just also everyone kept talking about how great it was, and so it was just like, eh.
That's how I felt about Lost, and then I was
Yeah.
like, I feel like when I did watch it, when it was finally over, because I was like, I am not gonna wait. I'm
Mhm.
like not that kind of person. I watched all of it at once, and I was like, I feel like I was right. It was not as great as you guys
The
all
ending
said it
was
was.
terrible. I'm sorry. Uh, uh, oh my gosh, Mark, who played Jacob, and like we know him. I've talked to him
Oh
multiple
yeah, yeah,
times
yeah,
on
yeah.
Unsafe
I know
Space,
him.
and I'm like
I
blanking
you
out
know
on
what's
his name
funny
right
about
now.
that is that like he was I came on it on Safe Space long after he was no longer like he no longer came around, so I never met him.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, he's a super cool guy, and what is his name? Mark Pellegrino. There we go.
Yeah,
Just like, oh.
Pellegrino. It's like the water.
Yeah, yeah, it was just on the tip of my tongue, I couldn't, and, like, super cool guy, very, very smart. I know, like, Carter, well, because like, Carter changed kinda the shows and stuff too, though, and you're like, "Oh, he doesn't fit on, like, which ones he might come on." Like, "No, just bring him on, he's Mark Pellegrino, you could have a good discussion of stuff," and,
Yeah.
yeah, so he's great, and then the one time he came on a stream on his birthday, like,
Oh
that's
wow.
so nice of
I
you,
love him. I follow him on Twitter. He's so
he
smart.
follows me, or at least he used to. He followed me on Twitter. I'm like, "This is weird." Like, now I feel the pressure, and so then I just never used it. I'm too
That's
scared.
you don't have much of a history on Twitter. Like I've only had this account for like I don't know, a few months now. And I
Mhm.
already have like 10,000 tweets or something.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
what's
what is
my
it? May of this year of last year.
10,000.
And I have, yeah, 10. 10.4
I've
thousand tweets.
5,465 since I opened this in May of 2009.
I think I had something like 20,000 before when I got nuked. So like, yeah, I mean, I I am chatty on Twitter. It is the place to find out what's going on in my life. I will definitely admit that. Oh my god, that reminds me. I had some jackass. I'm saying this because he reacted too
No, I
quickly.
swear.
He turned out to be an okay person, but I was like, slow your roll here, man. I have a short for Warframe that says witches can be male, and it was this thing where there's this nemesis system in Warframe where you proc an enemy, a hard enemy that will follow you, and until you defeat them, they're gonna stick around. And I was on my fourth, and they were all female. And then people are like, "There's a cinematic about this enemy. You should watch it." So I did, and I watched it, and it's got a male in it as the nemesis, and I was like, it's so weird to me that they're showing a male when they're only female. And my chat was like, they're 50-50 male female, and I was like, what? Because I was like, I'm on my fourth and they're all female. I literally thought that was the only option at that point. And then this person was all like, keep your feminist bullshit out of my favorite game. And I was like, what the fuck kind of response is that to this video? And then like, and then they still went on their angry rant, and I was like, dude, let me explain that to you right now what's going on. And then I did, and then they still were freaking out, and then they were like, oh, they did one of those like laughing sweat emojis, like, oh damn. And and then they were like, I only reacted to the title of the short, and I was like, yeah, watch the video. Like, it's less than 60 seconds, man. It does not take you long. And they called me a feminist, and I was like, that is a laughable thing to call me. And I was like, please follow me on Twitter if you really want to know what I think about feminism and gender ideologues, okay?
This reminds me of a thing I read the other day. Let me see if I still have a note about it. I wanted to bring up, I think yesterday, and then forgot. I was this astrophysicist woman who didn't have female professors, and because I forget what I was reading something else, and I was surprised she was an astrophysicist because it was like kind of something about, I think I was reading about being night owl versus an early bird, and just kind of like your circadian rhythm and blah blah blah. And so she was talking about that, and I couldn't find the article. Whatever it was on was like, you have to go to this thing to a Scribd, I think, to do, and but then it's like you can do a free trial, but then you have to put your credit card information. And I was like, can I find this article for free anywhere else? And I couldn't. I could only read part of it. And I'm like, I don't care enough.
I could probably read it. I have Scribd. I
really
do.
Okay. I need to find out what that article was though. But so I was just interested in that article. Something about why the something about it had early birds and night owls, I think, in it. And so I was like, oh, I'm interested. Like, I love the idea that she's an astrophysicist. Like, that's super cool. Because I love space stuff. And I remember like have different stories and stuff too, where like the one character's dad is an astrophysicist, and I was like, I really need someone who can like to give me actual information, because then at this point, like, I can only like it makes sense though. It's like, oh, as the child, you're going to ignore all of like whatever stuff, like, oh, dad's talking, so like I don't need to know all the jargon, but like I'd like to. So I've always been kind of like, I want more information on this so I can like have that character speak correctly. And I've had like a couple of things, but anyway, so this woman, she was like, she didn't have female professor, because I looked her up, and was only one of two girls in a 50-person class where male peers didn't seem to want to collaborate on homework assignments with her. So she was like this feminist thing about like how but she was also considered to consider herself to be a very quiet student who didn't ask many questions. And so it was like the whole gist about like, oh, there weren't that many people in STEM. She felt like when she saw there weren't women, STEM might not be something that she could do. And I keep wondering, I mean, I'll see that, and like, and I just I don't relate when people talk about that though too. Like, I've never thought I don't see someone who is the same gender as me that I can't do this thing now, and I don't understand the mindset of, like, why people apparently do think that without unless they're just told that too, like that, like, where somewhere along the line, someone is telling them that they can't do it because, like, right off the bat, like, that's not something that crosses my mind. I don't see someone by, like, skin color, I don't see someone by gender, like, and it's just that that person is funny, like, I love comedians, like, Lucille Ball is one of my favorites, not because she's a woman, but because I loved the show growing up, so
Yeah.
she was hilarious, she was the funniest one there. I
Yeah.
also love Will Ferrell, so I'd be like, I wanna be both of those people, like, I'm not biased about what gender or race they are.
I
Um
I never had any problem connecting with men. I think that's kind of obvious at this point, considering
Mhm.
that most of my friends are men. So
Yeah.
like whenever I was in like I am a quiet person and I am kind of a shy person in real life. Like I'm very reserved. I don't make friends easily, but like when I do connect with people, it doesn't. I have no problem connecting with men, none at all.
Yeah.
Partially because once you do get me to be less reserved, I make a lot of very crass jokes and find them funny.
Right,
Like
that's what
some
I
of
was thinking t that's why, guys, they like to hang out with me too because I'm willing to joke around like how guys wanna do, so then they can comment on things without having to, like, hold
they
back.
don't feel yeah, they don't feel like they have to like act differently. And it's and and it's like, well, maybe you should meet them on their terms or expect not to, don't expect them to meet you on theirs necessarily. Like maybe there should be middle ground, but if you're the one venturing into the realm as the minority. I know that sounds bad, but maybe you should be trying to relate to the people around you
Mhm.
because guess what? There's more of them than you. Like it just seems logical to me. But I like I said, it's natural to me to connect with men. I'm much less likely to connect with women, but even when I am surrounded by women and they are talking about shit I do not care about, I still make an effort if I give a shit. If I care about these women. Like for example, like I've been in rooms where women are just talking about their children. There's
Oh,
no
yeah.
way I don't have that experience. So, but I still ask them questions. I still like sympathize with their issues or whatever. Like, like I do that's not my interest, but I'm doing what I have to connect to them.
Doing
And
what I
that's the
have
weird
to.
situation for me though.
Yeah, yeah, I can always find something to, like, try to, like, relate to any people though, especially because then you just realize, like, my thing is I am interested in learning about people and people love talking about themselves, so then it just kinda, like, works out, so then I just get to find out stuff, but yeah, I get the women I can chat with a bunch of them, I just don't end up, like, being that close to it, and that's why we've talked about how, like, "Oh, you and I can talk a lot though too, because we aren't as, like, uh,
I
we
know.
don't have the same
Unusual
conversation.
women meet unusual women and
Yeah,
they end
because
up
like, the
being friends.
when we're like, "Oh, we just generally are more friends with a lot of guys," then we're gonna be like, "Yeah, because 'cause we're gonna be similar enough to that extent." Um But and I found it so it's Sabrina Stierwalt. Are you an early bird or a night owl? But I can't find oh, there it is. I did find the Scribd article. Ha ha! Look at me go. This yeah, so just that whole thing though of maybe those women, maybe it's that type of woman too who, like, I don't know, like the different personality type where they feel like, "Oh, that you are too." And if we get into like trans stuff a bit, though, like that's why I was just talking to a high school classmate of mine because I had to interview her for a story for the newspaper, but she just happened to bring up how like she never really understood like what being a girl was either, though, because we were talking about that, where it's like I only have my experience as being me. I don't know what it's like to be a boy or to be a girl. Like, I can't compare that to know the difference between, like, what that feels like or not. So that's why I mean, we didn't talk about trans stuff, but, like, that's just kind of the thing where, like, obviously, there's some sort of mental condition going on to make them feel that way, like, something in the brain is because otherwise, I'm like, I just feel like a gray blob. Like, I am just what I feel like. I don't know what it is to be female. I just have a vagina. So, like,
When
allegedly.
I hate the idea that any amount of discomfort with the parts of being a woman means that you're trans. It's like, I'm sorry, but no
Being
woman
a
likes her
woman
period.
sucks.
Cramps suck.
Yeah.
Like the whole process of menstruation sucks.
Mhm.
We all hate it, okay?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know of almost any Western woman who thinks, yeah, I got my fucking period. Like, except to say, oh, whew, I got my period. I was a little worried that I was
Yeah,
pregnant.
yeah.
But then it's like, ugh, but now I have to deal with
But
my
now
period.
I have it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, to me, this whole idea that they have that like, oh, you're somewhat uncomfortable with your body. Bitch, we're all uncomfortable with our body, okay? There's no such thing as a like, even I and by the way, when it comes to the whole are you uncomfortable with your body thing, a lot of women say, well, women are so uncomfortable with their bodies. And I'm like, bitch, do you think that men are not
I know,
uncomfortable
yeah.
with their bodies? Like, what is your thought process there that the penis magically makes them think their bodies are perfect? Like, that's not what's happening.
Okay, why is this not coming up? I need to get Signal open. There speaking of penises, or was it it was in 2017, and then I tweeted it to the Cosmopolitan article. It said, "Why guys get turned on when you orgasm, and why that's a bad thing."
Oh my god. I'd seen that one a long time ago and I was like, oh my god, go fuck yourself.
It's so ridiculous.
It was so dumb. I'm like,
Men
I'm not
always
gonna
make it about themselves, like
I know. It was it's like, so you don't want them to try to give you as
uh
many orgasms as possible.
No, they were upset. It's like, oh, I think the article said like, "Oh, it's fine. That's nice that they want to," but then it was like, but then they're like turned on by it, that they like it because like, yeah, okay, like why is that bad? And then it's this
It's
masculine
not.
thing about them, like, oh, them accomplishing it makes it a masculine. So it was so ridiculous.
I
It's
think that's so
hilarious.
dumb. It's so dumb. Like, who cares? It's like, do you want them to give you the orgasms or not? Are they
Mhm.
doing it?
Yeah,
Then
and that's
shut
what I was
the
saying,
fuck
like,
up.
the people who that definitely were not getting laid is what I think I
Yeah.
tweeted about because it was just like, "Oh, alright." But yeah, so, like, I've never felt man, like, I hate, as far as going back to the other the scientist woman, astrophysicist, where she was the only 2 of 50 people in that class, and then those guys didn't wanna, like, hang out like, do homework with her or whatever, though, and I have never felt that. I hate being the only one or only one, like one of the girls in most situations. Like I prefer it. I like when I'm the only girl in a group or something. Though, like I like even in improv and stuff too. Like I would kind of not that I didn't get along with them, but sometimes it would just be kind of like, yeah, awesome when they come in, whether or not I knew them. It was just kind of like, all right, well, I liked being the only girl. I don't know why. What about my psychology? That is exactly. I have a guess, but but I just prefer unless. So I'd prefer being the only girl there, except, like, in, like a rapey situation or something, you know, like,
Yeah.
I don't in a group.
Like, if it's
Um,
dangerous,
there's
then it's
certain
uncomfortable.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
okay.
I think
But
it's
it
just, you know,
like,
it's like a
see, the
competition
feminists would
thing, like
call you a pick me,
I
essentially.
Motown brought that up to me like, months ago. I had no idea what that even was, and,
It's one
so I
of
had
their
to
invalidating terms.
Mhm.
It's just a buzzword to say I can discount your entire experience. That's all
Right,
it is.
because yeah, what that they're trying to say, like, "Oh, you, uh, only are doing it for the" I don't know, like, just, for
You're
the like,
just
you're
trying
a
to get the
fake
attention
boy
from the
that you're trying
man.
but I will say
Uh,
too that, like, I'm sure there is the part of it where it's because, like, women are also, like, competitive. There is, like, a kind of a natural thing too of just sort of, like, y the cattiness is there. Like, I think there must be some sort of, like, inherent thing, and maybe that's where, like, part of it comes from too. Not like I'm in a group trying to, like, date. Like, I did not date at all, but it was just kinda like one of those things where, like, I do like standing out and I feel less like, "Oh, I'm not going to do that," compared to, like, someone else who might stand out instead or something, though, so maybe that's it, but I just
I think they think you're competition at that point. You're the
yeah.
cool chick that the guys actually like, and that
Yeah.
makes you dangerous. Because a lot of women, feminists included, like having attention from men, but they what they don't realize, like some of us like the company of men because it's enjoyable. We have similar interests. And without other women around, there's none of that, a woman trying to get some sexual attention or changing the dynamic to be more feminized. That's why a lot of women like hanging out with men. But then then there are narcissistic women who like being surrounded by men who are fawning over them. That's not my goal when I'm hanging out with a bunch of guys. I don't want the guys fawning over me, which is a different idea. It's a different goal. And the problem is that I think a lot of women who use words like "pick me" want the guys to fawn over them, and if they're
kind of
not,
a projection thing, then
yeah, and it's like we're not trying to get them to fawn over us. We're trying to like connect them as friends, and it's a dynamic we enjoy because it's not the same as women, because women play really weird games in how they talk to each other, and that can be very uncomfortable if you're not into that. I've seen it happen so many times, and it's the reason why, like, it's like I can be acquaintances, we can have conversations, but I am not sharing huge parts of my life with you, and I'm not relaxing because you're playing these weird games, and it's not something I enjoy. Men don't play games like that, most of them. Feminized men do, I will admit that, but like non-feminized men don't play the weird games women do. And it's kind of awful because when a woman who plays those kind of games goes into a group of men, she'll continue to play those games, but now the goal is different, and I don't know. I'm just so uncomfortable with that.
Can you describe a game? I mean, like I would know it, I'm sure of it, but I can't like think of an example.
So when women self-deprecate to other women about their appearance, they and not in a they usually use the word "so" or something like that to say like, oh, I can't do that because I'm so fat or short or whatever. You pick a term that undervalues your appearance in some way. The expectation after they say that is for the other women to go, no, that's not
they're
true.
fishing. Yeah,
they're fishing. That's a game, and I don't play that. I literally, like, this happened like 10 years ago. I swear to God, I heard a woman play that game, and I said, and I was part of the conversation at that point, and I said nothing in response because I realized what she just did, and then another woman picked it up and played the game, and I was
you should have just been like, yeah, and answer like, I can't do it because I'm so fat.
I was silent as the grave. I was like, I am not playing this game, and I will always remember that because like it was the first time like I noticed it as it was happening and realized how horrible it was and how much I hated it, how manipulative it was. And I was like, I'm not doing this. Men insult each other. They literally fucking insult each other to their faces. And I'm totally fine with that because I know they're just fucking around. But like women play that fishing for compliments game. And I'm like, I'm not biting the hook, okay?
I don't find genuine
do that to them.
Compliments, and compliments were hard for me too, though. Like I always felt uncomfortable, like I didn't know how to like respond. Like I'm better about receiving that now, but because like so just even friends generally, but and now also like they're unintentional times too, because I might be like talking about like here's this conversation that was going on that I like, oh, this was unexpected, and then like just kind of like telling it to someone else, and then they would be like, I'm like, I wasn't fishing for them to like, oh no, but like it was really just like trying to say like this is what happened here, and now I'm discussing it, and then it just feels like this unintentional fishing. I'm like, I wasn't trying to. It just kind of comes.
I did self-deprecating humor as a way of gaining friendships.
Yeah,
and like
I do that all the time.
If I did notice this, if someone like contradicted me instead of laughing and did that thing where they then started complimenting me, I did not become friends with that person because I was like, no, the point was to fucking laugh. I was
Yeah, so then if you
joke.
weren't if
Now
you didn't
you
find me
make it
funny
sound
and
like that's true.
yeah. Yeah. Like, now I don't want it. Like, now I feel bad.
Exactly. It's the whole thing about the woman posting the photo and everyone going,
Yeah, like,
you go, girl.
yeah.
You're so
Like, yeah.
brave.
That's just the worst thing to say, brave for any of it too. Like, they're so brave for doing that. That means it's it's a like a not good thing that they're doing it. Like, wow, I can't believe she did that. Like, that is so embarrassing that it's brave. Like, you don't genuinely like what you're seeing though if you're calling it brave.
Nope. That is such a shitty response to someone. She's like, oh, ow.
Yeah.
Like, and they think
Oh,
they're being nice.
also the back to the thing with the girl that two girls in 50-person class. She's saying so she thinks that they didn't want to hang out with her because she's a girl. I've never felt that people didn't want input on homework or something, like these smart men, and maybe they exist. Maybe that was going on in astrophysicist class. But I she said that she considered herself to be a very quiet student who didn't ask many questions. It could have been she just wasn't social enough that made her interesting to, like, wanna talk to, though, or that they didn't know, like, there could have been some sort of dynamic that they're like, "Oh, well, she's, aloof, that we don't aren't
Yeah.
interested." Like, who knows what she or even if she was trying, they didn't get that because she just wasn't coming off that well, though, too. Like, so
I
there's
know
so many
I'm
reasons of
very
it not.
aloof in
Yeah.
like groups that are not like people I already know. So like
Mhm.
this idea that like that would like and I know people don't fucking approach me and it's like that's the point of
Yeah.
being aloof is so that people don't approach you.
Yeah.
If that's not what you want, you need to change how you present yourself. That is
And I
very true.
And I do that, like, I that's why sometimes I feel like I have such a split personality though, because I have that same like, I have the anxiety of like, "Oh, I don't wanna, like, ever talk to people," and I just are like or I'm not deserving of people, like, noticing me, and I wanna stay but then and especially now being a reporter where I kinda have to, like, just got so I have to, like, detach from, like, shut that put that in the vault, and now you're just going out and, like, let me I went to the police station today to meet the chief because I just wanted to introduce myself. I had, like so it's just like stopping into like a few different places to just say like, "Hello, greetings. I have business cards now because I'm
Greetings.
professional." Uh,
Greetings, fellow human.
greetings, fellow humans. Um, but yeah, so it's just kind of but sometimes there is even a thing like right beforehand where I'm like, "Ah, I feel weird. Like, do I say anything now? Like, should I speak up though?" And then I kind of have to like get over that hump and be like, "Yes, now I'm just like I'm in it. Like, here's this like kind of the persona of being more outgoing and I feel okay. Like, I'm not nervous doing it. It's just that like build up to it and how and the dread beforehand, which I happen on stage all the time too. Like, I get super, super nervous like before the curtains open and I'm like terrified and a lot of stuff is going on in, in my body, like stomach rumbling or whatever. And then once the curtain opens though, I'm like, okay, like this is fine. But it's that build up every time. Um, okay. Justin Roiland, before we end it, he has
Yes, let's
been
talk about his cancellation. Yeah.
canceled. And I'm so upset by this, and I don't even know I still haven't, like, read fully everything. Let me see some of the links that I read, but he apparently, allegedly has, uh, in years past, has been, like, messaging, minors I was gonna say minorities, which would be less bad.
Minorities. That would be
Um,
weird. That's,
the
that's wrong. You can't talk to
yeah,
minorities.
you're white.
I mean, that's almost what they want. So, like,
Right. Oh, I like Beverly, I don't like being the only girl in rapey situations. Hey, at least, I can share the wealth. All right. Adult Swim cuts ties with Justin Roiland following domestic abuse charges. So yeah, I've read that he would message, and there were like screenshots of It didn't even say who it was, though. I guess it was supposed to be like his icon in it, but it didn't have names from what I saw, and it was just like him saying like kind of weird stuff to like allegedly underage girls, and about school.
one of the one of the things, one of the messages that I saw was him saying, "What are you like a an FBI trap that the FBI just follows you around in a van and arrests people men you talk to. And I was like, that doesn't sound like a grooming thing. That sounds like a I suspect you
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
being like, a
'Cause
trap.
there were things, yeah, even other stuff too, where it was just like, okay, let's say I don't know what age they were, but like their high school age at least, because they had like I went to school or had homework or whatever. So like let's even assume like 16 or 17, we'll say, and like, okay, he's skeevy in like maybe messaging many girls that way, but some of the message that I saw, it wasn't like people can talk to people under 18, like if you're over 18, like that can happen. So some of it was like a little questionable, but none of it like, or some of it was like, here's this kind of like maybe inappropriate thing, and then he's joking. And like, have you watched Rick and Morty? Like he is an inappropriate man. Like that is just a thing. And so
Yeah.
like, and I think, like, I will take into consideration, like, what are the motivations behind messaging, like, how frequent does that happen? But just trying to say stand alone, like, someone like him is going to say a lot of inappropriate things. That is just who he's going to be, and then it depends on, like, what he says and to whom he says it, and then we'll go from there, but it's just kind of like, yeah, like, he's going to be a creep in certain ways. Um, I saw those messages and I was offended at the lack of effort. I was ignoring Rumble, and I forgot to say hello to Wesley 1924 earlier. Hi, G-Man. I saw you in there, and then we got into topics about feminism.
Yeah.
I think the woke stuff is teaching people to assume other races, genders can't possibly relate to them. I don't like teaching segregation. I was thinking too how I'm like, oh, what did because guy in room is new here, like, oh good, he's gonna be someone who's like kind of like against the woke stuff too. I'm like, oh, it's Rumble, of course, anyone who's gonna find us on there is probably going to be like, we
I mean, it's
already,
weird on YouTube. Like at YouTube, you don't know.
yeah,
It's
like
but
it could be
Rumble
anyone.
is more likely.
Yeah, so just like, oh, that's not, oh yeah, of course. You're here for a reason, otherwise you'd be on YouTube.
Yeah.
I just want to go back up here and say, because I was ignoring chat. I have met a couple of odd ones who do like that time of the month. Coley says, okay, I'm
How? Like
no
why?
response. Yeah, maybe it's not that bad for them or something if it's mild, but like,
Yeah.
and they maybe they have that whole like, it's the woman thing, and you feel that, and like something like romantic about it. Maybe I don't know. I don't have that feeling at all. It sucks. It's gross and horrific. And then it's like a murder. Men having pleasure at all is bad. Yes, guy. The female orgasm is biologically as unnecessary as the appendix. Yeah. Well, I
Actually, I've been
mean,
reading a lot of research, and the orgasm like spasms the cervix, which increases the pull of semen up into where the egg is.
oh, interesting. I was
So
gonna
it's
say just too that like it can help like loosen things up, and like kind of, and make it more usable though, like wet it up. And
you mean the arousal
the
lubrication
arousal,
makes it
yeah,
easy? Yes,
that,
okay,
and
that is true.
thank you for wording it better, because I didn't just couldn't like, but yeah, like, you might be too tense, and so then the arousal like helps loosen you up, and that kind of thing though. So I think it can be necessary for certain.
Oh, I get what you mean, Coley. So that they say they liked that time because boinking felt more amazing. That's how. That is true that the labia and clitoris
Ah,
are more sensitive during menstruation.
really
They are.
interesting.
Some
I
men though don't like having sex when a woman is on her period, which is totally understandable.
Yeah, is that not the norm? I figured most I guess some don't care, but then most don't. But
Some
then I'm
don't
also
care.
kinda like, "Well, how you're gonna stay like, things are gonna get so stained, like, how do you do it without, like, unless it's just, like, in a shower or something, though, like, I don't,
No, you're like questioning the mechanics of
yeah,
it.
really, I don't get it. Um Let me see what else we have. I'm just more stressed out by spending time with women. Yeah. Alex, if you like the company of men, that sounds like internalized misogyny. The patriarchy has colonized your mind. Yeah. I've done the whole, oh, I don't think I suit that, and end up getting annoyed because I'm actually evaluating myself, and the response will be something like, oh, no, it's fine. I don't think I suit that. Oh, okay, for just earlier.
That's about the fishing for compliments
Yeah.
thing.
Took
Where
me
you
a long time to realize
self-deprecate for
why people respond that way. I thought fishing. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then I self-deprecate because I think it's funny. And I don't know, I guess I could say too, like maybe there is like a subconscious part that kind of sometimes also wants to just be like, if I have the insecurity and I want someone to like just say like no to it. Like I think that's also human. I would like don't make it a habit, I guess. I don't get a game of it or something where it's just that you're constantly doing that. And don't think I don't think I really care about it from women, though. I think if I were, I would want a compliment from a man, I guess, more than I would a woman if I cared. This is the stuff that still
maybe
goes
that's
by.
why we don't play those games. Because
Yeah.
we don't care whether or not women
Um,
think we're awesome or whatever.
yeah. I don't care at all about your opinion, Alex. At
Yeah. I don't
um,
care about yours. So. All that love you have for me means nothing.
yeah. I know you've said it, you've rejected my love for you so many times. I did find your creepy love letters over there. I found it's like crinkled up now, so I think it makes it creepier, and then it's crinkled.
You should send it to me sometime.
I will. Hang on, let me grab it.
You do have my address,
I
creepily enough.
know. For those who haven't seen it before, hang on, let me put this up here. What does it say? Alex, my love for you burns with the white hot intensity of 1,000 suns. Love, your secret admirer.
But you just admitted that you made it.
I know, yeah. And I shouldn't have like written in like I did it in like a cursive handwriting, but also it's just like now my handwriting's on there, so but yeah, so that happened. Let me check. Yeah, I thought that did one text exchange I saw was maybe weird, not pedo level anything. Oh, okay. I found you from the unsafe space Rumble before. Oh, okay. Hello, guy in room again. I don't know why I said hello again. That was weird. I think I was saying hello because like you came from unsafe space, so it was just kind of like, oh, neat. But I realized right after I said that, why did I say hello? They say they liked that time because blanket film or anything. So giving her an orgasm increases the chance of conception. That's not helping your case, ladies.
It's from an evolutionary standpoint.
Yeah,
You said it was unnecessary. From the evolutionary standpoint, it is not unnecessary.
I mean, Jay Quickdraw didn't say that. That was Wesley.
Yes, that's true. Because it is it is helpful to procreation, which is the point of sex. So
a love letter in the format of a ransom. Yeah, that was the point. And that's why I found my Valentine cards that I made for the Ginger 2 for the first time, where it was just the creepy stalker photos I took of him cut out with hearts and then written in fake blood that said like, I'm always watching or be my Valentine. It was just the creepy blood. Does Rumble know that Beverly and Alex are mushroom cloud laying motherfuckers?
Mushroom cloud? What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know.
I have no idea what Stevie J's saying.
Anyway, Adult Swim. Yeah. So the Justin Roiland thing. Oh, where did that? I lost the page. Let's see. What does it say? So Adult Swim cut ties. I saw there's another article that Hulu cut ties, which I think Solar Opposites is solely a Hulu show. It's so he's not being charged with like the minority
the grooming
things, the minor minorities.
Yeah, it's just the domestic.
I froze for a sec.
Yeah, you did.
The felony domestic abuse charge. So allegedly, I forget. Is this the one that says stuff? Do you know specifically what the charges were?
No, I do not. My thought is though, so they're going to continue the show, but they fired him.
Oh, I think he locked someone in a bathroom or something, I think is what I heard before. That was like one count of false imprisonment by menace, violence, fraud, or deceit. Sorry, what were you saying?
Okay, I'm just reading this. He's pled not guilty. This is not enough to me.
That yeah, what evidence is there? Because it could just be a woman scorned who made this up.
Or I mean, honestly, like men, if he's the abuse victim, he doesn't have a lot of
Oh,
recourse to
yeah,
protect himself either.
and
So it's like, I just don't, this is
I
not
was worried,
enough.
like, is this another Amber Heard, Johnny Depp
Johnny Depp.
situation? So,
It's
like
possible. I mean, I'm not going to discount the idea that completely that he maybe has
yeah.
committed domestic abuse. I'm
Yeah,
not
he could
going to
totally be guilty of this, like, he could totally
100%. He
be,
could
like,
be
an
guilty.
asshole and, like, have done all
That's
of this.
it's on the table, but
Mhm,
for us at least, we are both like of the mind that it also could be the opposite of that.
mhm.
Like,
And
and
and I am biased in that, like, I don't want it to be true, like, I think,
yeah,
like, I am a fan of him, and I hope that, like, it is untrue and he can, like, get the work back again, but if it comes out with more evidence to show that, like, yeah, he did do this, like, okay, like, I'm not going to keep siding with the idea that he's
yeah,
not guilty, and then but I will do levels of, like, what happened, though, like, what was the reason, like, what were the like, I won't just say, like, he did do something bad, like, if it was, like, super mild and be like, "You need to be canceled forever." I think it's the circumstances matter too, where I'm like, okay, because I'm still kind of iffy too, like, depending on stuff, like and depending on if you do, like, serve jail time and you come back out, should you not be able to have, like, a job again though and do that?
yeah.
Like, or I think you can maybe if people can choose to say, like, whether or not they wanna watch your stuff, like, if you get to be on the show again and people are like, "I don't wanna watch Rick and Morty because I don't like that he did this," but there might be people like, "He served his time, I'm going to" or whatever, like, I feel like it's okay now, or especially if someone is like, I tried to change my ways or something though too, like, I'm
Well,
working on
and
bettering myself, like, do you not give them that chance, especially when they're
was it?
free now?
Yeah, I the problem is that progressives don't believe in redemption. They
Yeah.
literally don't. Like Christians are more forgiving than progressives are, uh, and which is weird because progressives are also like incredibly like nice to criminals, like
Mhm. They
really
wanna free,
horrible.
like, everyone else and
Yeah, and it's like, but then if they feel like it's they have their targets and they have their protected victims and like domestic abusers is one of perceived alleged
mhm,
domestic abusers, especially straight white men and ones that are successful. Like, oh man, are they a target? They don't fucking care. If that person could have done everything right, they won't care. There are progressives who are still saying Johnny Depp was the abuser.
mhm,
I know abuse victims who know Johnny Depp was the abuse victim. Like it's insane. Like it's really crazy. So to me, I'm like they'll never want him to be redeemed. They don't care. He could apologize until he's blue in the face, until he fucking dies in a gutter. They will not forgive him for the accusation leveled
mhm.
against him. Because we don't have any proof. We don't. I doubt we're going to have anything that is very exonerating or very
Condemning.
condemning in this case. I very much doubt that. It's going to be pretty much a he said, she said. And I don't think that's enough in the world we live in to really qualify for reasonable doubt. And I know that to some people that feels like a miscarriage of justice or like not good enough. And it's like, well, the best we can do is reasonable doubt. If we're not getting to that level, then we have to we have to let it go.
Wait, sorry, are you saying that that it won't be enough for reasonable doubt that he would get convicted, or
No,
that it's
like
that
what I'm
he
saying, see, that's the thing is that people are getting convicted without them disproving reasonable doubt.
reasonable
Like
doubt,
that,
yeah, yeah, so, like, there
and
is
that
like, I doubt this a lot, and you're still being convicted, yeah. That's
exactly.
I wasn't sure what you meant with how you
So like
worded
that is the
so, but you're
litmus test to me. Like with when it comes to the court system, it's like, can we prove this within beyond a reasonable doubt? No, most of the time, like a lot of fucking cases, no. The answer is no, and that
mhm, and they
sucks.
still yeah,
And they
but
still convict, and
do
I'm
you
not okay with that.
do you think that what's the likelihood that like, which direction will he be judged, then where will that conviction go, though? Like, let's say that this is just he said, she said, there isn't any like viable evidence for either way. And this is in Orange County. Like,
I don't know Orange County's history at all to say whether or not he will get convicted, but I'm not going to say, like, even with a poor case that it won't happen. Like, because like I said, I just don't know their history, their case history enough, because there have been counties in California who had less, like they would have more solid cases and not convict them or sentence them lightly. And then there's ones that are just like the opposite, and they're like, we have hardly any evidence and we convict. It's kind of hard to tell in California because it's such a long state with a variety of demographics among it. Like, because the northern part of it is a lot different than like Southern California. So and then there's richer areas that have different expectations. So it's kind of like I would have to like really look at that, and whatever judge he gets would also probably affect how I felt about it, the likelihood. But I mean, he could get convicted with very little evidence. I'm not going to say that that's not possible.
Yeah. And oh, Stevie J says that he
lives there.
Confirm whether he's a boy or girl. But like I said yesterday, everyone who I'm not sure of in chat is a boy. So you live in Orange County. I have it's this guitar is a I think an OLC Orange County Chopper, I think is the name. But so tell LA hates OC because we are neighbors and OC votes Republican. Ooh, so maybe I mean, I have no idea like where Republican would be on that, but it's just kind of like maybe.
It's actually kind of hard because sometimes conservatives have the same archaic ideas that only women are victims.
Yeah, and so that, and it could be even worse, actually. Yeah, like they're bad on both sides because the men will be like, yeah, like we're conservatives and you should never like anything at all. We're gonna convict, because I guess Republicans are known. They like the Innocence Project kind of thing. Like they don't really care. Like wrongful convictions, they usually believe that the wrongful conviction subjects are probably guilty a lot of times. And then I think I might see like the conservatives do that, and liberals might be more willing to believe that they were wrongfully convicted.
And so, I think libertarians are like, yeah, they're probably wrongfully convicted.
Yeah,
that's where most of them lie. But yeah, I do worry about Republicans falling into the idea that men are always guilty when it comes to gendered crime, or what is perceived to be gendered crime. I don't consider domestic abuse a gendered crime, just to put that out there, but it is considered by society at large to be a gendered crime. And I think they get that wrong in the same way progressives get it wrong, which is like, wow, are you on the same side of this fucking horseshoe theory shit going on?
What would a gender crime be? Because my mind just jumped to like you're rubbing your vagina on everything.
I don't think there is such a thing.
Yeah, like it's just,
I don't actually believe,
because then it's just like public indecency or something to which anyone can do, or it's like they can do both things. I'm trying to think of like, is there something that you gave birth in public or something, or like, and that would, I guess, would be a public indecency. But I was just trying to think of like, men can't do that, so I can only, I don't know, I can't think of it.
I don't like, usually gendered crime is a fancy way of saying men are bad people and women are victims. That's what they mean by gendered crime. They almost never mean women are the perpetrators and men are the victims. So it's like, this is just misandry. That's all it is. And so I don't believe in it. Is the problem, is I think it's bullshit.
Internalized misandry for that take by conservatives. So we feel like the anti-propaganda is hilarious. What was I reading? Oh, Guy in Ream said, yeah, if this was the 90s, I feel like he'd just get sober and be taken back to the show. Yeah. Just everyone else though, like, yeah, he finally sobered up. Which I've also heard that a lot of he would just record things drunk, like is like an actual drunkard and stuff though too. So like, can he just do that then? And sort of, I guess my bar is probably high enough, like really depend. Like even if he is guilty, like I said, it depends on what it is for me to be like, I wouldn't watch. I don't know. It's really tough for me to think, and I don't know whether like that's good or bad of me to be like, he did commit this crime or something though, and like whether for punishment, like if he does that, do I still want him back? Do I still want to hear like his work? Because I do have like I separate the artist from the art thing. Like I've had to do that on the flip side of just like grow of any like
Well,
woke
here's
people and stuff too. So
here's my thought on people who convict crimes. Are they supposed to die in the gutter after they get
right,
out of
exactly.
prison?
Yeah,
Like,
so it's like
no.
they and because I was trying to think of I was talking about this yesterday and how like, Carter does believe in ostracism and like he thinks that like that can't like culturally like maybe that can work on stuff, but then you have to trust culture enough to be able to decide like whether or not that like you can't. I
I
don't
don't.
think
I don't trust humanity.
no.
See, that's the thing. He thinks that there's a culture that we can create that would be trustworthy. I don't.
Yeah.
I think you get 5 people in a room, one of them's going to be a prick. So that's like my thought on that is that you can't like even if you made it happen in a small area for a generation, one generation later it'd be fucked up. I just don't trust human nature that much.
It's
So like and
that's
and
why
it's not and by the way, that's not me being like a negative jerk. That's just me looking at like all across the board of all the history that I've read and all the psychology that I've read and taking that as like a standard. And it's not
mhm.
even a very negative opinion of humanity. I think that some people, there's a small percentage of people who are horrible people. That's my thought. I think the majority of people are decent, or if maybe a little lazy in how they consider their actions.
That's why I mean, I guess, religions that are like Christianity, like are that are more trying to encourage forgiveness, maybe that is something that would help though, like in a culture too, because it's just like here are these things that you did wrong, but we're not going to like just kick you out forever though too, because like you do exist. Like if you and but I don't know like I don't want like a government to force people to like say that what to do. But at the same time, maybe they're like if you're gonna have the government, then there and you already have like the something about the discrimination type of thing though, like that would be considered. So if you're going to abide by certain discrimination things, like, well, then you can't discriminate against like an ex-convict because they've served their time and now like they are like living in the world again. So I'm trying to think of like what's the solution to how what I feel about stuff though. I think most of it you should be able to like live your life again. It just depends like if you're a child sex offender, you need to be able to work, but
Nowhere
maybe
near
like don't
kids.
yeah, like you don't work around there, but like you can have a job, like you can allow that, like and especially those like wrongfully convicted too. And which side note, speaking of those, I still like every once in a while get calls from Kenny Snow, the guy from Texas who got let out who's wrongfully convicted, I
Oh
think. And
yeah.
so, but I just think it's so sweet that he like checks in on me and stuff to see how I'm doing and all that. So,
Well,
um,
here's my thought on people who get out of who did wrong because not everyone goes to prison for what they did wrong,
mhm,
but do suffer consequences. Maybe social ones, maybe professional ones, such as being kicked out of the show that you are one of the lead
mhm,
creatives on. I don't think. First of all, I don't think we should be very quick to judge.
mhm,
As in, we don't go off of a fucking headline and like or just charging documents and assume well they must be guilty. That's state theism. When you assume someone's guilt just because the state has decided to charge them, you are then believing that the state is infallible. That's dogmatic belief in the state, and that's wrong. So to me, that step one, don't do that. But like, say someone wasn't arrested, but they still lost out professionally or whatever, maybe for domestic abuse, and maybe they are guilty. I don't believe that domestic abusers, from all the research I've read, are irredeemable. That sounds horrible to a lot of people because they think they've been taught that people don't change. But the thing is, though, is that if you do a deep dive into people who try to treat bad habits like domestic abuse, which is, by the way, a bad coping mechanism for other problems, you'll see that they have had actual results with domestic abusers, with recidivism. Well, I don't think that's the right word. Progress. They are actually improved. But here's the thing: a person has to want to improve. They have to want to get better. That is a big part of it.
I'll lump that in because I do think it applies like with personality and mood disorders though too, because a lot of times that's usually it's coming from something that or drugs. Like if you do sober up, like and I've known people like that, like like alcohol like does affect like you are worse, and when you cut that out, like you're okay, like that's way better. And I would still say there's underlying like something was causing you to do that while under like the effects of alcohol, but at least you can manage it.
I bring him up every once in a while, but Dr. Amen says that alcohol is usually a self-medication, and most psychiatrists and psychologists agree with that. And he when it comes to domestic abusers, and he's not the only one who's made progress with actually making domestic abusers no longer violent. He said that alcohol is an attempt at self-medication for a brain problem for people who commit domestic abuse, but it's not actually fixing it. In fact, it's lowering their prefrontal cortex's ability to judge what is good and what is right. So then they end up falling to the actual problem that's going on, that's deeper in their brain.
Trying to
but they don't have the tools they need to treat the problem. And so I believe that domestic abuse is caused by several different factors. He is 100% everything's from a structural problem in the brain. And he did actually find some connection between the left temporal lobe and domestic abuse in men specifically, because that's the part of your brain that controls your temper. Okay. And he found a high prevalence of those men having left temporal lobe seizures. When he gave them anti-epileptics, their episodes that they would have that would lead to domestic violence dropped dramatically, like insanely dramatically. And their family were like, wow, he's actually like a decent human being now. And
I totally believe that like chemical imbalances and stuff are causing majority of these, not just domestic violence, but like the other mood disorders and things too.
There's a lot of cases where, so there's two major factors. There's what's going on in your body, which your brain is part of your body. And then there's what's going on around you. Like there's a psychologist who was on the Joe Rogan show, and he said something that is very true, that if you're depressed and everyone is telling you it's a chemical problem, but you just lost your job.
I think
your wife left you. Yeah. And, your kids say they hate you, and, your friends aren't coming around anymore because you're no longer fun. You can't do anything. Don't let someone tell you that that's a chemical imbalance. That is definitely environmental factors.
Right. And we should that's why, I mean, and I think we've talked about this before too on stream, but I think like you need to figure out like what is going on in your life, because a lot of people like, oh, you have these external factors that are causing you to like, this is why you're sad. But then if you like look through all that and you're just like, no, I don't, like everything's fine. Like I'm a perfect life otherwise, and I can't figure out why I'm still feeling this way. So then you get into the end. But I also still I believe too that like you can adjust without medication depending on stuff too. Like when I talked to the one woman who does like the drug awareness thing, and I felt bad because I wasn't trying to say like I believe in no medication at all. I was like kind of bringing up how like the idea of like behavioral therapy and stuff can be really useful as well. Like, so some people like you might not like if you're whatever issue you have, if you can kind of work on it without having to have the drugs in there to like set things right. Because some people's like I do like the brain is malleable enough that like even if you have some imbalances, it you can still kind of train yourself and to
Yes.
change your brain to like function differently while you like work on these other behaviors, because that will it'll the fake it till you make it thing does work to an extent, and it's not just fun, but it's like you when you train yourself to behave like, oh, I'm reacting this way, but if I keep trying to react this other way, that will slowly change your brain to it too.
Your
Sometimes
brain like likes patterns, and it will create patterns, and those patterns can either be negative or they can be positive, and what you do affects that. A lot of people like to think, well, a lot of people act like my brain is my brain, and a lot of people act like like I am not my brain, and it's like
Mhm.
it's really like a kind of a blend. It's a feedback, and if you don't act like that's true, then you're going to miss part of the equation and not going to get better.
Right. But I'll also say too, some people, it's so severe like that you can't do it just on your own though. Like I think I would still suggest you work on those things like through your behavioral changes, but I also think that like yeah, the imbalance can be so strong that you need help like pills or whatever other
Yeah.
medication to try to set those correct. So I
If
just
you're
think
literally never getting out of bed, like that's
mhm,
probably one that it's extreme. You probably do need some
right.
kind of extra intervention
So
beyond just change your
I mean,
habits.
I guess similarly to, like, trans stuff too, where it's like, I would suggest, like, do everything you can without medication first and see, like, what like, does this help enough, though? Like, can you change and then so that's, like, your first step of figuring that out, and then, like, next or later steps would be like, "Okay, I need to do, like, if, medical changes of whatever sort that is." I just, like, I think it's and that was something that the drug awareness woman too, like she like mentioned too about kids getting over diagnosed for things so like ADHD or whatever. So it's just kind of like people jump the gun on that. So that's why I would want to, I'm hesitant to say like before jumping into medication, see what else there might be external factors or other thing. Can you change it without it? And then if still no, like, and you need help with it too, like some, like that's okay as well. CBT, yeah, cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah, and there's also DBT. Um, but like I
What's
would say
D
less.
stand for?
The
Aside from
D says
dick.
dialectical. Um,
Dialectical.
yeah, the the problem with Western medicine is that they so want to throw a pill at it.
Mhm. Yeah.
They want their medical interventions to be quick. It's like it's you know how they make fun of people like our generation when Netflix like started doing streaming and everything, and they're like, you're the now generation, everything now, and it's like, where do you think we fucking learned it? You guys are the ones who started this whole throw a pill at it shit.
Mhm.
That predates us. I'm sorry. Like that wasn't our decision. You know, like a lot of that stuff is a lot older. The whole the now shit, but that is a
I
Western thing,
want it
right?
now. What commercial is that? I
Yeah,
want
I
my
don't
money and
remember
I want it now. Cash back
now.
something like or gold, cash for gold. So yeah, something like that.
Yes, something like that. But yeah, like this idea that, well, I don't want to do the thing that takes everyday work. And it's like, well, that's the thing that's going to last the longest. It's going to be the most effective, probably. Like
Mhm.
I would say very few brain problems really require like chemical intervention. So I'm not going to say that it's none of them. I'm not going to
Mhm.
say that it's that there are certain like I would say that seizures probably need some kind of intervention because that is not a habitual thing. That is your brain literally doing a neuron like electrical loop. That's not really in your control. I know, I've experienced it. It's not like something you know like psych yourself up for or whatever. Like you do the problem with epilepsy is that it's not something they know what the cause of is. It's like, is it genetic? Is it an environmental factor? And that's the part where they're not willing to do the work. Like, right, like I did actually go in for an environmental test for mine, and they
Mm.
found nothing, by the way. They could not figure out what my trigger was. They took me off the meds and I didn't have a seizure. And so I was like, that went well. But like, yeah, it's expensive to do that test. So they just throw the pill at it forever and go, "You have epilepsy," and then basically that's the answer. And it's like, I don't think
Mhm.
that's good enough. You need to find out what's wrong. I'm sorry,
Yeah, yeah,
like for
because
now,
epilepsy
definitely give
is
them the
just
pill because you
epilepsy
don't
is a
want them to like
symptom, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah.
So my problem, but
And I
they
always say the Western medicine just treats symptoms, like, the
yep.
that's what they
Well,
do.
see, that's the thing. Like, I get it. You want to give them the pill so that they can live their life because
Mhm.
epilepsy is incredibly
Yeah.
disruptive. You
But let's
know?
find out what's causing the epilepsy,
Yeah.
because then there might be something even worse causing it. I mean, like a coworker of mine at Second City, like she was having seizures and stuff, and unfortunately it was a brain tumor. But like had they like, what if they're just like, well, here's just to fix the seizures, though, and you didn't like look any further. And I mean,
Like,
similarly with
I'll admit,
vets
I got
too.
a ton of scans to find out if I had a tumor or something.
Yeah.
They did do that. Like, almost like the first time I had one, I went into an MRI machine. And they're like, "Do you have a tumor?" Well, they didn't say that to
Mhm.
me because I was 14, but I know that's what they were looking
Yeah,
for.
yeah, I did
Was
that
some
when
sort
I
of
started
like
getting the
structural thing.
tinnitus. I went in for an MRI because, like, my earring just, like, came out of nowhere. I just remember it, like, came on suddenly, so then it was just like, Is this just early onset, or do I have, like, a brain tumor or something, though?" So, like, I went and got, like, checked out for different things, but again, so then it was just kind of like, "Nope, like, we didn't find anything. Good luck."
Mhm.
Because it was just like, "Alright, can't do anything about it, and we have no idea," and so I know I just have to suffer.
Well, I mean, to some extent, we are still limited. And like, they act like medical science is magic and everything, and it's like, no, it's not. You guys don't know half of the things
Mhm,
that, like,
mhm.
you don't have cures, you don't have answers. Like, like that's the thing is too. Like my condition, IBS, they say the S stands for syndrome, which means a collection of symptoms with an unknown cause. That's what it's still officially called, even though the
Mm,
Monash University in Australia thinks they've figured it out that it's an intolerance to these FODMAPs, and people who go on this diet are showing, improved uh, conditions. That their condition has improved. They
yeah.
have less symptoms. But how do you test it? Like, but by the way, there is a test for two of the FODMAPs. It's so one of them is a lactose intolerance test that's very old. They do is they make you drink a bunch of like heavy. It's not milk, but it looks like milk and it's chock full of lactose, and they make you drink it, and then they put this breathalyzer thing on your mouth, and if you breathe out lactose when it's supposed to be in your system and being digested, it means that you're
Don't
not digesting it. They have the
yeah.
exact same test for fructans. That's
Mm.
two of the four FODMAPs that they proved that those are what's causing the symptoms for these things. And it's like, well, then that sounds like you're on the right path. Keep doing this. Like, because it sounds like you're figuring it out now. But they still act like, oh, we have no idea what causes IBS. Like, it sounds like you're on the
Yeah.
right path
Yeah.
over here. Like, maybe
Well,
this is the answer.
who knows? It's anybody's guess, and I think it's just a mystery that will stay a mystery forever. We have an answer over here that no one will ever know.
I know
Also,
it annoys me.
I forgot, say milk again?
Milk? I know I say it
Forgot you say it with a milk. And I was like,
yeah, I do.
"Milk, milk." You were Kansas, or is it Phoenix thing? Which one where do
That
you pick
one's
that up?
I think I picked that up from Illinois people.
Illinois. Oh, did they say that? I don't know. A lot of the people I knew weren't
Well,
from
they say
Illinois.
like I and A sounds weird, and all my
They say
family is from
Chicago.
Illinois. Yeah.
Chicago.
Oh, see, that's
Is
the thing. Like, I didn't pick up most of it. Like one of my older relatives says Warsher.
ugh, yeah. I just heard, yeah, someone said "Warsh" the other day too. I was well, I think 'cause that is a
That's like
Pittsburgh
an
thing as
Illinois
well.
thing. So
Yeah, I think that happens down in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. Um, what did we have here? I learned it from you, Dad. Is not no, I found it. It's J.G. Wentworth. I need my or was that I need my money. It's my money and I need it now. That's what that's for the J.G. Wentworth. In my opinion, those external factors have a biochemical response. So you create the chemical imbalance. That's how the drugs allow you to cope until you can get useful therapy.
I'm not sure though that medical intervention is the answer with those external factors. I feel like an improvement in your external
Yeah,
factors
that can
are because
adjust the I can believe that, like, yeah, like, there was probably some sort of chemical response to it, but that can be fixed by you I would I guess it's when it's like that it's a like a, yeah, I don't know, not pyramid, but like a chain or something. Uh,
because the life I described was a life falling apart,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like
So you
you all
check
you
that
do.
first. Do
Yeah.
checklist of, like, your external like, how's your life right now? Like, is there something going on there? Like, okay, fix those things first, and then how are you feeling? And then you can say that, like, "Alright, there's other or, like or can you not fix, like, whatever's going on, like, that's just not able to fix enough?" Then, like, then you kinda just have to, like, do some sort of, like, flow chart, I think.
Yeah, I think a flowchart's smart. I think drugs should be mostly last for mood disorders.
Mhm.
I know that sounds maybe cruel to some people, but I don't think mood disorder drugs are a long-term solution, and they are highly likely to create a crutch and they can increase symptoms. So
And
I would
yeah. And I was gonna say too that, like, it can, not just like, it cannot do, work and then make other things worse and stuff too, because it's all about trying to find the right, the type and balance and whatever though, so that's already difficult on its own. So that's why I guess I'm becoming more like homeopathic and just a lot of just, like, whatever you can try to do, like, more naturally first should be, like, the goal, like, and but again, it's like a drug would be, like, the later to last thing, but, like,
and the
if you can't do
absolute
it.
there's extreme intervention for mood disorders too, beyond drugs. By the way, they still use electroshock therapy. They use
Mm.
ketamine and magnetic waves. Those are the three like considered
Mhm.
extreme interventions for mood disorders.
Yeah. I think I read
I'm
something,
not
electroshock
sure.
therapy is like something it's like just like in the brain, like it doesn't hurt
Yeah,
her, but they are like
it's not like
shocking her brain.
the old school like
Yeah, but
60s.
they are like zapping the brain to try to like
Yeah,
adjust it.
this it's very similar to the magnetic therapy. They're trying to find the localized area and affect it, essentially. And I don't necessarily think it's horrible. Maybe it has like but the thing is though is that most of the patients say it's temporary, like incredibly
Mhm,
temporary.
mhm. Yeah, I
So
believe that too. I mean, like chiropractor stuff, like where they adjust your skeleton and everything, and then you're straighter, but like they even say like this is temporary, like your body's going to adjust back to where it was. That's why like you kind of have to do it forever. So I think like sometime I think though the brain it is it can adjust over time. The older you get, the less malleable it is though too though.
yes,
So,
that's
like, you have to
true.
do things young. So, that's but I think it just really depends on who you are, like, the situation and everything. So, it's like, for some people, it might work long for longer periods or forever, like but for others, it may not or for most people, it may only be a short time or because they haven't gotten it right. Maybe it's not even the best thing yet. Like, maybe if they did zap you in, like, the better places or in a certain way, like, maybe that could be so we just
Well,
don't
it's
have
sort of like trying to figure out targeted cancer drugs, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like it's because like if you do a genetic test on your and you have cancer, they can figure out a better drug for you, because otherwise they're just guessing. Um, and I think that's really interesting that because sometimes they'll give you a drug they would not have considered based on the genetic markers that you have, and they'll notice that because it's like, well, it's more tied to your genetic markers than it is to whatever kind of cancer you have. So you're going to respond better to this different drug. I will say this: so like you know how you said epilepsy is caused by other things. Um, it's a symptom of a
Mhm.
problem. One of the cases that Dr. Ermin talked about was a guy who, when he was like 19, a lot of his cases, a lot of them are about brain trauma. So like you got hit in the head. And one
Mhm.
of his cases, this guy was like 19, he was on a motorcycle, he got into a motorcycle accident, and he skidded along the ground for like 20 feet with his left temple along the ground the whole time.
Okay, each other legs. Uh-huh.
I know that sounds horrible, but he was wearing a helmet, but it still
Still,
rocked his
yeah, oh, okay,
brain
okay,
in his
okay.
skull.
Sure, but at least he had a
So,
helmet.
and he was horrible. And then like they did do a brain scan like when he was in his 70s, by the way,
Hmm.
and found that he was having left temporal lobe seizures. So his seizures were caused by trauma, like and
Yeah.
real trauma, like brain trauma. And the thing is, though, is that like the problem is with brain trauma is that a lot of people experience minor brain trauma and are not sufficiently tested after they experience this minor brain trauma, when either they don't go to the hospital because it's not that big a deal, or they do go to the hospital and the hospital says, well, you don't have a concussion, so you're going home, and they don't do any testing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that could have long-term effects on how you behave, is the problem with that. So I have a real problem with how people act like the brain is not that big of a deal in the
Yes,
medical
I,
profession. I'm
I
like, oh my
agree.
God. It bothers me a lot.
I was feeling too jello leggy, so now I have to pick my legs up here. At least he had the helmet, but oh, the whole thing freaks me out. I forgot to address this one too. Do you think meditation is helpful? Not for me. I think generally, like, I think it can really help people a lot. I haven't figured out how to meditate yet. I think I told Alex, I told you this. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it's not helpful for those who have a predisposition to narcissism.
Mm,
I think it's
uh,
actually detrimental to their behavior because it
really?
makes them more self-absorbed.
Uh, oh, because you're just sitting. Oh, okay, okay. I
They
don't
think the
think
things
that's
that the
my
thoughts that they
problem.
have, yeah, they think the thoughts they have while they're meditating are
Are
fucking
so
gold or
great or
something.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I can see that. I I don't know. Yeah, I did tell you this, Alex, with Motown when I was whatever it was about. Oh, because I have trouble sleeping and stuff. And then he sent like a meditation thing though too. And but then I was saying how like I couldn't even focus on what the guy was trying to do because he had so much mouth noise. So then I couldn't, and hearing that was just really distracting, and I couldn't get past it. And so I have trouble like meditate, like relaxing, let alone like meditating. Wait, let me interrupt myself there. When you say let alone, I've never been clear on like I've never, I can't even think of an example though. Like which one do you do? Like I've never had uh cake, let alone any sort of wheat product. Or do you say I've never had wheat, let alone cake? Like which one do you do? Like the specific thing, let alone the broad term, or
I
vice versa?
go, I've never had broad term, let alone specific term.
I've never had wheat, let alone cake. Why? Why? What does the let alone actually mean?
It means that it's so far out of the realm because of the broad term that it's not even conceivable.
Okay, I think that's making sense to me. I need to think about this longer for it to register in my brain. Thank you, because I've been confused for like my entire life, and every time I use it, I'm like, did I say that? Did I use that right? And I asked my other friend who she's like English degree, and I think she was confused. Like we didn't know the answer to it. Okay, so let me broad term then specific. Let me sit on that for a while. What were we just? Was I saying about the? Ooh, I lost it. Answering the meditation. Oh yeah. See, I can't even like stay that's the thing too. My brain, I think too much. I have like thousands of stuff. I can't turn off my brain. That's why I have trouble sleeping. I can't, and
It
meditating. Like
sounds like your prefrontal cortex may. This is an interesting idea, but it's like I don't know, but it's a possibility. Your prefrontal cortex, when you try to focus, stops working as well as it should. That the prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain that makes you focus.
so I may hit myself in the front of my head there, and then get some trauma and let it like settle down.
And some doctors who look at the brain and look at prefrontal cortex have said that drugs are mostly the only thing that they've found that helps that,
Yeah.
and some diet changes.
I mean, a big thing that I've read too, like with prefrontal cortex, like that it's underdeveloped for people with like at least borderline personality disorder, so maybe also cluster B stuff, and also that you're missing gray matter in the brain too. So like that kind of like a lot of missing that is what causes like the psychopathy type of behavior and things too, because you just can't understand things. And then plus the underdevelopment in the prefrontal.
Yeah, the thing about the prefrontal cortex shutting down when you try to focus is not about underdeveloped. In fact, it's developed. It's like not missing anything. It can function, and all that stuff. It's just it has a tendency to shut off when the person attempts to focus on something. That is usually by like transitive property without doctors realizing it, ADHD or ADD.
That's why I didn't think I was ADHD, but and I was talking to Motown because I guess he's talked about that before, and but I was like, I do have trouble with like focusing on that. I do get distracted easily. So then, but I didn't know whether or not it's like an OC. I have OCD, and that has the anxiety part and like the overthinking and stuff. So then it's just like maybe caused from those or.
Well, I mean, and yeah, anxiety disorders make you loop on thoughts or not be able to focus on thoughts, which is a different problem. It is different than your prefrontal cortex not working, specifically just going, no, fuck you, when you try to focus. It is a different problem. Okay, hi, honey. Just giving you a bath.
Music is meditating. I I can be relaxing, but then even that, like, I can't if I'm trying to go to sleep or something else of just not thinking, I can't have lyrics because if someone like if there's words in there, I'm thinking about and I'm like focused on what they're saying. Even sometimes with just instrumental things, if I know it, I'm thinking about the
The
melody or
noise.
whatever, and then
Probably if you didn't know music, it wouldn't have that effect
if
on
it
you
was
quite
just
as much.
that's I use a fan sound, like, I my earring, I can't sleep in silence, and then so I just have, like, a white noise, but, like, pitches matter too, though, so, like, the fan sound is what I need. I just need something steady, and then it drowns out everything else, and that can help me, but I can't have, like, fluctuation but I also can't even have, like, there's a weird clicking sound in this fan, or there like and because my brain picks up on that where I'm like, "What? That's happening every 5 seconds," and then I'm waiting for it. It's like, "Okay, that just happened. It's gonna happen again here right now."
Yeah,
And,
that sounds more anxiety or the anxiety cluster of issues than it does the focus ones, which
mhm.
is where you put the ADD and stuff.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
that does sound more like an anxiety problem. I'm like, and that's funny too because a lot of people think that means, oh, you're anxious about this thing, and it's like that's not exactly like the connotative tone of anxiety is not doesn't quite capture the umbrella of like mental health disorders that are about anxiety disorders. Like
Mhm.
it's funny because it's like it doesn't quite capture what is going on because there's a lot of stuff like in really complex things going on with an anxiety disorder. And like a lot of people think it means you over focus on your worries, and it's like actually you're not seriously considering how you will handle your worries as one of the actual causes. Like most people go, what if this happens? And then they go through that and go, okay, well, I would do this, this, and this. Anxiety disorder sufferers go, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And so you loop. So
Uh,
you're more likely to loop on things if you have an anxiety disorder, like sounds.
I'm trying to think of how because I think I do I mean, while I loop on stuff, I think of worst case scenario things, but then I also so I'll think of, like, all if this thing happens, what are the potential, consequences of it, good or bad? But, like so then
I
I just
force myself to do that.
but and so that thing is like that is natural for me to think of all these things and then but I don't know, so I'm not sure. So I guess it's a mix of whatever stuff. I do along the lines of what you said, I never really I don't think it's a good description of when they talk about OCD and they think that like, oh, if you don't do these compulsions or whatever, then you think you feel like something bad is going to happen to you. And I was just like, that's like this vague thing, and I don't know how I don't know how accurate that is, like, at least for other people though,
It's
because it's not I feel like something bad is going to happen. It it feels like this, uh I feel, like, constricted. I feel like and, like, certain thing, like, in my wrists or something, I feel like not that I can't breathe, but, like, certain parts of my body can't breathe, and it's, like, this such discomfort, but not pain. It's, like, kind of this I think the best way I can describe it is, like, a constricting feeling in me, like, unless I do this thing, then it'll, like, relieve it, but it's not, like, this dread of, like, anything is gonna happen to me. Like, the way that they describe it is just, like, "Something bad will happen here." I'm like, "No, it's not like I think an anvil's gonna fall on my head though, but it's just like in my body, like I feel really uncomfortable until I do the thing."
this thing about most laymen do not have a very good understanding of OCD because of the fact that um, Hollywood has and like stuff like that has presented OCD as anal retentiveness, which
Mm,
is not the same thing. And superstition, anal retentiveness and superstition. That's not what OCD is, even though that's what, like, if you look at Monk, that's essentially what they present OCD as, and that is not OCD. There's a lot more to it than that. That I mean, I would call those things neuroses. I definitely
mhm.
would, but I wouldn't call them OCD based on like the DSM definition of OCD.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely have like, oh, I get bothered by certain things, like I love symmetry and then so something I'd be like, "Oh, that's kind of out of place though," and like that might bother me where like so like Monk is has certain things where I'm like, "Yeah, like no, I relate to that," but there's it's I feel it maybe like underlying like what like the thing is that there's
It's such
more
a
to it
like
than just a
yeah,
shallow understanding.
it is a very shallow. It's like this is Monk, and then there's like all this other stuff
Yeah.
going on underneath
And
when
especially
it
because
comes
it's,
to
like, arbitrary too, like, and I think also just because I think I've gotten better, like, somehow, like, it's I've cared less though, or it's, like, if something is so chaotic, or so then that's fine, like, let me think. If I'm writing words down, none of the letters can be touching. If they or all of them can be touching, and then if it's just, like, one touching, then that's annoying. If it's kinda like if there's a mixture of it, it can maybe happen though, but, like, it's if something is standing out compared to others, and so there's just, like, certain things, but then but sometimes I am able to just be kind of like, "Ugh, that's fine." Like, even proofreading, I'll proofread the newspaper, and then I'm like, "Well, there's just this one thing on the page, like, that bothers me, but it's too much work to like, it's not worth having, like, so and so edit it out, though, after that, though." And, like, I'll let it go, it's in this one thing, and I'm never gonna see it again. So, it's kind of like trying to get into that mindset of, like, it's okay, like, you can get
yeah,
past it, like, it bothers me,
it's the
but
thing. The thing is about anxiety disorder sufferers is that they are perfectionists. Almost every single one of them across the board is a perfectionist, and it results in one of two things: this sort of exacting, controlling nature, or I don't want to do anything at all, like
Mhm.
because anything I do will not be
It
perfect.
won't be
Like so, it's
perfect.
yeah. So like you'll see people who seem gross and disgusting and horrible because of the fact that any action they take will not be perfect. They cannot take any action. So it seems like really like not an anxiety disorder, but it is like they've basically psyched themselves into complete inaction, which looks really horrific. I'd say that's like on the like really bad end of an anxiety disorder, honestly, if you're that bad. But like you and I, we have to be okay. We have to tell ourselves to be okay with not being perfect. It's not easy. Like I will get into a mood where I'm like, no, this isn't perfect. I hate myself, and then I have to like I have a video, by the way, on my channel wherein I spelled a word wrong in text. I think it was one of my Pacific Rim videos, and someone pointed it out to me after it was already published, and I still remember because I have an anxiety disorder, and I'm not going to forget this fact that I did this. And but I did not take the video down. I could have. No one was
Mhm.
watching the channel back then. I could have taken the video down, re-edited it, like fixed the spelling error and republished it, and but that wouldn't have been perfect either, because then it wouldn't have come out when I wanted it to. So
Yeah.
it was like I had to be okay with one mistake
Because you
at
have to
that
accept,
point.
like, it's either going to
There's
suck one way and like, which one am I willing
Yeah,
to, like, it's not gonna, yeah, can't be perfect.
yeah,
And that's
and I'm like,
why
one spelling error is not that big a deal.
I mentioned it before too, where like my one friend, and the example I just always remember is when we were at the zoo or aquarium or whatever, and she got the squid stuffed toy, and like, but she got one that was imperfect. Like there was something wrong about it, and I can't remember what, but like she wanted it because it was different, and that's something that like I remember so much because I keep trying to think of that too. Like I like and not and it wasn't because of this of like oh I want the perfect thing. It's partially, but part of it too is just kind of like appreciating the uniqueness of something imperfect, and I think that also helps with like okay, even if like this other thing here isn't perfect, it can still be like oh this is unique or something, because like everything else is done perfectly but this one is different. So I think that's just kind of like maybe, and I don't know if I ever consciously thought that until now. It just reminded me of it, but Johnny Boy says you should try apps that play noise. Wait, no, yes. Oh, yeah. I have had that. The app that I use now, though, it's called Sleep Sounds, which I kept mixing up because the app that we are using for fantasy football was called Sleeper, and I kept accidentally like opening one and then the other when I wasn't thinking. But I do like, so it's got a whole bunch of different things. Like I can't see any of it. Creek, forest, if it focuses. Oh, whoops, like animal sounds, rain, all that. I
Oh
do
wow.
a custom, whoops, I'm gonna play it now. Oh, it's on desert. So it has a bunch of sounds, but I do custom, and it's just a combination of car and airplane, I think is what I used to just do like fan sound, but now I think it's car and plane. But sometimes it bothers me more because sometimes I hear like weird sounds coming from it. But like the thing with like brown noise, pink noise, some of it, like the white noise, because it is still a mixture and I can hear high pitched ringing still. And so some of it I can try to like balance out with my own ringing, but other ones it's just like it's too intense and or too soft. So it's just, but what I found is like loud like airplane sounds or like car, like a loud engine sound helps me drown out stuff. But I will, as soon as it stops playing, like sometimes the phone freezes, like the app just like shuts down or something, I will wake up immediately. Like that lack of sound startles me awake. And then and I'm
Oh
like,
gosh.
what happened? So
So,
it's
you know what I was reminded of? Does it have all those like scary screamy
like
sounds
scream, yeah, the whale
like
sound.
like Scream Queens?
Oh, it has ASMR on here. Ew, I think that's new. That must have updated.
But it's
Cat
just like, do you remember she like slept to like
purring.
horror movie
Yeah.
sounds and stuff?
Whoop. Yeah, she had just like it's on or what was it? A slasher film.
Yeah.
I have scratching, tapping, page turning, hair clippers, chewing, whispering, breathing, crackling, car engine, and cat purring for the
Okay,
ASMR
cat
sound in here.
purring is okay, but like
Yeah.
but the God, the breathing.
Whispering,
Breathing makes me feel like
breathing. Yeah, ew.
that there's someone in the she does have tinnitus guy in room. Um
Yes, I
uh
do. Mhm.
uh I don't have it, but I do play usually TV shows I've seen while I sleep.
I
I
used to, and then now it keeps me and now I'm just, like, too focused. I liked How I Met Your Mother, I'd fall asleep to that, but now I'm just like, even though I've seen it a bunch of times, what's gonna happen next? Like
I used to listen to music while I slept, but now I'm too into music to sleep
mhm.
to it.
I do
I just
sleeping mask, I do, like,
no,
the
I
mirror
don't do that.
noise,
I
I
do
know,
have a sleeping mask.
it kinda it worry like, I get kinda freaked out and paranoid as I'm falling asleep too, because then I'm just like, "Is someone in here? Is someone here?" Like, I get so that happens, but I also need no light, but which it's I don't think I super need it, just at least at night here because it's so pitch black here, like, we don't have, like, city lights or anything, but in the mornings, I don't wake up at dawn, so I just have to have the sleeping mask on then.
I have a sleeping mask and
A
I
fully
stopped
library.
using
Yes.
I
I
stopped
love
using it because I kept ripping it off in the night. And I
mhm.
was
Oh,
like,
yeah, it'll slide
I
off and
no, I'm like, I know, like, because I don't. consciously remember choosing to do so, but I do remember at some point ripping it off. I know that I have it, like if I do have something like on me that I don't like, there will come a point where I will fucking get rid of it in my sleep, and I'll remember it in the morning. I'll remember doing it because I had there's the tendon in the ball of your foot that goes from the ball to the heel. A couple of years ago, that tendon had a knot in it, a very bad one, and I couldn't hardly walk. So I bought this sleeping foot splint that's supposed to keep your foot like it's extended, so not extended, not pointed, but like 90-degree angle at your heel to stretch it.
Wait,
in my
where's the
sleep.
tendon? Because I've had like for like
It's
a year, it
in
was in
it's in the
between.
bottom, so it's like right down the middle of your foot.
Yeah, maybe that was
From
where I
the
had
palm,
problems, and I had trouble walking.
yeah, from the heel up to this part where your toes would be.
Oh, it's in between. Oh wait, between
So
the
it's like
heel and
here. So it's like
okay.
here in the middle. Sorry, it's hard to show you.
Is
But
it going through the arch though? Is it?
it does go through the arch.
Oh, okay.
It
So
goes
it's a
straight
different
from
one
your
then.
heel
Okay.
up into that
Okay.
that pad part. So
You're just
it
gonna
was.
show me your foot and how
I
flexible.
don't know. I can't lift it up. I'm not that flexible.
Really?
But
Oh, I could
no.
do that.
But
I
it
can
like
do
I could
it.
hardly walk, so I bought this foot splint. Jesus. I bought this foot splint that would keep my foot like extended. Like it looks like this weird ass fucking contraption. Like it wraps around the ankle and around the bottom of your foot, and then it has these like straps that like hold your foot like flex, because a lot of people point their toes in their sleep, and so that's how it happened. That, and I was less active because I wasn't walking to work anymore. So I bought this thing, and so it would like one foot pointed and the other foot like this flexed thing, and like I remember ripping that off my foot in the night several times.
Wow.
And I would wake up without it on. I would go to bed. I would do all the shit to get it on, and then in the middle of the night, I would decide I was not comfortable anymore.
I have had enough.
Rip it off, and it was complicated, like you said. and I would rip this thing off, and then like I would put it on the next night. Fucking happen again. Eventually, it did. I had it on enough during the night that it, like over time, that it fixed the knot in my foot. But it was like really weird to know that I just don't like having these kind of constricting things on me, because like the face mask, it was like touching my ears.
It took time to get used to. Oh yeah, and that could be
and I'm like,
uncomfortable.
no.
Yeah. I'm very, very sensitive to it and picky. And yes, sleeping next to me, like sleeping in the same bed with me is awful, because then I also like thrash and like as I'm trying to like fall asleep and rolling around, and it is the worst.
I sleep alone unless you count Missy, because she sometimes sleeps in the bed with me, but I think I move too much sometimes.
I know, yeah, that happens too. Also with like Elsie, I was always scared because she'd like sleep in the middle of the bed, but then it's like, oh, you're trying to move, but then she would like get mad and attack. Okay, yeah, we'll sleep around you. I'm sorry.
I'm actually pretty good when she's on me to not like move. Like part of me is awake enough to be aware that she's on me, so that I don't move all that much. But like she likes to also sleep at the foot of the bed, and sometimes I accidentally kick her because I don't know she's there. And then she gets mad and she gets off the bed, and it's like, well, you bug me all the time when I'm awake, and sometimes when I'm asleep too, so maybe this is turnabout.
I love sleeping alone. I prefer it, honestly. And for a long time too, like on and off, but for a long time, like the Ginger and I would just sleep in separate rooms, like because I can't fall asleep and then he would snore. So that's a big thing. And because I like roll around, even just loud breathing, I can't do an ASMR breathing thing because you're inhaling and then exhaling, and it's not a constant noise. It's just it's going to be a fluctuating sound, and I can't handle it. If it snored just constant, if it was just a forever and the whole night, might be able to do it, but then it like stops and then it starts again. So I'm the worst sleeper, and so for a long time, but like now he's been trying to get, and I'm like, this sucks having to share a bed, and it's a king size.
I don't like
Uh,
sharing a bed. I'll admit it right
no,
now. I don't like it.
yeah, I
I prefer to
prefer
sleep
not.
alone.
Yes, me too. Like the romanticizing idea of it, like, oh yeah, in theory it seems nice, but then I'm like, no, like I'm not that kind of human. I want the center of the bed. I want to sprawl out completely. I'm gonna thrash.
I don't spread out all that much actually, but I just don't like the idea of like the bed weight is different when there's another
Mhm.
human on it. And yeah, maybe they do snore. I don't know. And I go to bed when I go to bed. Like I don't and I don't like it when Missy wakes me up. I don't know why. Like if someone else got in their bed or something, I wouldn't like that either. And I've had
Yeah.
people wake me up like in the middle of the night and I hate it. I hate it. I'm
He
like
wakes me up in the mornings before he goes to work because he wants to say goodbye and, like, again, and theoretically, that seems nice, but then I'm like, "Now I'm awake. Will I fall back asleep? I wasn't planning on waking up for another couple hours." That happened to me this morning. So then I was all nervous and,
we've
uh
been talking about sleep and I really want to
I
go to sleep
know,
now.
yeah. Let me look at chat real quick. There's a documentary called Helvetica. Try that. It's incredible and beautifully shot. Puts me asleep, but puts me asleep every time. If it's beautifully shot, how I won't be able to look away. Have you considered a mallet to the head, guaranteed 8 hours of solid sleep? Well, that's what I was saying earlier. I should just like hit my head and change my prefrontal cortex. Guy in room agrees. Sleeping next to people kind of sucks. Yeah, let's all just have at least our own beds, if not that like it just reminds me of that How I Met Your Mother episode where
Yeah, they have the
Marshall and
separate
Lily
beds,
and
yeah.
they like slept super well, but then they missed each other and came back. And I was like, no, 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 no. Like I want that happy sleep, and then the rest of my life is happier.
You're good
Uh,
if you're sleeping well, you're less likely to be short with someone.
yeah, yeah, less cranky and all that, and you can like still make it work. Like you could still have a good relationship and stuff like that outside of just not sleeping directly, and especially because then I'm gonna be more resentful. You snored the whole night. I couldn't sleep. Now I'm mad,
And
kind of
you
thing.
did sleep, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, yeah. And like while you're flaunting it in my face, snoring the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me see. Anyone else interested? Some people from PA said Warsh too. Yeah, Guy in Room. That's what I was saying. Like Pittsburgh, they definitely maybe Harrisburg as well, but there's a PA thing, and that's where I live. The person I heard the other day said Warsh, so maybe it's just a Pennsylvania thing. Cool. I will post links again. Well, if I just post all the links at once, it's gonna come out really terribly, huh?
Like you won't be able to click on all of them on YouTube. I know
Okay.
that for certain. I
Oh,
don't know.
really?
I don't think you can click on them in Rumble. I think you have to copy and paste them anyway.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so maybe let me try it all in Rumble and just see what happens. I don't even know what all links. I think this is every link that's not necessary. Oh yeah, it is. It doubles up on things, but I'll just see what happens. I don't
Ow.
even share all those.
Missy.
Where did I?
Shit on my name.
Oh, I copied your Rumble link
Well, it
yesterday,
cut you
but
off.
it was on the wrong
Is
thing.
it?
Did it?
It's like it's
Oh.
my channel, and then it's just HTTPS, nothing else.
That was it. That's everything. Where did your link go? I copied your Rumble one yesterday, but it's in a different one. Oh yeah, the C498355. How come yours doesn't have a name? I think you can change it though. I think I had to go in and just edit it in the background.
I've not fucked with my Rumble that much. Not
Yeah.
until they let me stream. Like most of my content
Mhm.
is streaming. So yeah,
Um,
498355. It's my channel.
yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure I had that too, and I think it let me just like choose. So once you decide you want to do that, but
Mhm.
yeah, I'm enjoying Rumble. I think it's like slowly building up with people like who are new occasionally. Or like, oh, I haven't seen you before, so that's nice. And then again, you don't have to worry too much about like, are you going to be okay with the topics we're talking about? Well, probably. I mean, you and I probably might go a little bit even more extreme than other people though too. It's on
Yeah.
either side. We might think like, hey, I'm okay with this kind of woke idea generally. Like I'm not a Puritan versus, hey, like here's this like, oh, I don't. Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say I go like Puritan or conservative though, but just something where it's like, here's this talk about like people being able to have sex with whatever, with whomever.
As long as they're adults, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
So what are we watching for the second?
That's Groundhog Day, huh? Should we watch Groundhog Day?
Yes, I love that movie.
Yeah, me too. Okay, and then if we have a second one, I don't care. We can mix. I was gonna say mix genders. We can mix genres. So mix genres and genders. So we can either do like one of the other movies that I meant. What was it, Wakanda or Megan or like something that's new out, just so we can have two topics. And I am interested in seeing those. Should I write them down? I don't think I have them written here. So, yeah, let's say, which one would you rather watch in alongside or compared to Groundhog Day? Then a horror movie, Megan, or Marvel movie, Wakanda? Is it called Wakanda Forever? I have to look.
Yes, it is. I guess.
Live, Die, Repeat. Also,
are you referring to End of Tomorrow? Because I love that movie. It sounds like you're referring to End of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow or End of Tomorrow?
Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah,
okay.
Edge of Tomorrow. It's a very good sci-fi film.
Live, Die, Repeat. Is that the same concept? I do like.
Yeah, Tom Cruise's Groundhog Day.
Because if we're gonna go with that, the theme of just like repeated days that you're living, then I love Happy Death Day.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Really? Oh, maybe we can do that one then. Let's do, because that's, yeah, okay. That's a horror. It's a comedy horror. I'm surprised that you haven't seen it.
Yeah,
and
I
then
have not. Never heard of it either.
Interesting. I don't know how you'll feel about it, but I think it's just a fun. It's a fun, repeated day horror movie. I do really love like repeated day things, like it happens in Christmas movies and stuff. 12 Dates of Christmas. I really like.
I love TV show episodes that are repeated days.
Yeah.
They're so much fun.
So okay, so let's do that instead then. Forget the new movies. Let's do Groundhog Day and Happy Death Day. And if you want to do a third one, then you could do the sequel Happy Death Day to You.
Okay.
So I mean, and I've seen all of them. So like, yeah, it's your call. So you let me know because I love it. Tom Cruise's Groundhog Day.
It's worth watching, by the way. It definitely is.
Okay. All right. Edge of Tomorrow. Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Alex. We have Occasional Levity next Wednesday at 9 Eastern, and then we'll do the dim stream again on Thursday. And Alex has all her streaming stuff on her channel that she does like every day.
I didn't do it. I mean, I don't do anything for my channel on Wednesdays and Thursdays, but like every other day I do.
Yeah.
I'm streaming twice on Sunday since I didn't get to do Just Me 2 on Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Busy day. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, have a good night, everyone. And good night, Alex. Good night. Just hold this up again, you.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna stick around for the credits. I'm going to bed.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.
Bye.